You know the thing? No, I can't do it.
Hello and welcome to Strange Conversations, where the four of us gather together.
Strange
Yeah,
conversations.
strange conversations. On my far left, we have.
Dylan Sinat.
On my right,
John Pettit.
He's handsome.
I am handsome.
there we go. And on my other left,
Mark Plover.
and I am Brent Metcalf. I remember
Wow.
this time. Aren't you proud of me?
He knows who
What
he
a
is.
day.
Because I feel rude and like saying, "Hey, I'm Brent Metcalf" first before everybody else. But it's the only way I will ever remember it.
I mean, if you're introducing people, do you introduce the others and then yourself?
Typically, yeah.
Well,
do
I mean,
you
normally
introduce
you say
yourself at the end of that?
Dylan and I, right?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you in
This
introduction?
is my friend John, and I'm Brent.
You see, the I'm Brent part's the one that catches you. I feel like a lot of times, hey, this is my friend John.
But we gather together to talk to you about some nerdy news and what we feel is what's the term, Dylan?
We would call it important.
Important shit.
But sometimes we call it important. The first bit of news that we had, I'm going to kick over to John just because I really like this a whole lot. It's one of the cooler things that Sony does every now and again.
Yeah.
You know, through all the piles of turds that they do, they occasionally do a golden
Come out with
turd.
a gold nugget.
Yeah. So it's 50,000?
50,000.
50,000 or 5,000?
500,000.
Or 500,000.
500
No, it's
million.
500 million.
Yeah.
There's
I was like-
15,000 of the console.
No, it's 500 million.
No, it's
There's
50,000.
only 50,000 units being
Oh,
sold.
being
this-
okay.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Okay, I was
So
confused. at what
we
you were
destroyed
talking
your world. PlayStation has now sold 500 million units across all its systems ever,
about. Since the 90s. Yeah.
not including the Walkman. That probably beats all of that. And they're going to be selling 50,000 of this limited edition, which is like a clear blue
It's like
and
a
gold.
translucent blue with a little gold trimming. It is freaking beautiful. It looks like almost Halo-esque.
Do you think it's going to be more or less rare than the retro gray anniversary edition?
It is going to be more rare, I think, in the end. I think that's something that people are going to really want to hold on to, and I think it's going to be a collector's item because it just has this look about it that when you see it, everyone's going to know what the hell it is.
I also think that there's something about that semi-transparent look
people
that
love,
sells
man.
really well. Yeah.
You got the controller, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I have 4 controllers in the house, and I will actively go, is it charged? No, well, I guess I'm just not going to play a game right now. I'll talk about it later. It's fine.
There is something about that.
Why don't you plug it in?
I plug it in a lot. Trust
Okay.
me.
No,
It's
I
got a
like
lot
plug
of
it in and
controllers.
play.
Oh, because it's too far away. Come on.
It is, unfortunately. The translucent, it was like, it started with a Game Boy with me, personally.
Yeah.
But
The
that's
color.
what really, like, when I think retro or something old that I cherish, it is in that realm. So it definitely grabs me in that stance.
Yeah, because the clear purple Game Boy Advance, and I'm sorry, Game Boy Color,
the
and
color,
then
yeah.
they did the advanced versions.
Yep.
And then the N64 with that purple see-through. God, I love that thing. I love that thing.
The controllers in general.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So I had my uncle Keith had the Game Boy, regular Game Boy, the color one with the translucent
Yeah,
purplish color, right?
Yeah.
And then like 2 years later, I got the advanced clear one when I got the one later, right? And my grandfather, he has the he had the original black and white Game Boy.
Oh,
Like
wow.
the super brick, right?
Yeah.
And then they wound up dying, and like it died like a couple years ago, but it lasted like a good like 25 years, right? So then my uncle Keith gave him his translucent Game Boy Color, and it's just more of like every time I go to my grandparents, he every day will like watch the weather and play Tetris. That's like his daily routine or whatever. So it's like every time I go over, they'll see, I was like, that thing is so old. That's amazing.
Yeah, especially
really cool.
because is it the one that's black and white or is it the color? That's the translucent.
It's the colored translucent, but
Okay.
the cartridge only plays black and white anyway.
So there was a black and white one that my friend had that
Yeah.
was not colored, and it was still cool as hell.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Wait, what? I don't even mean by colored.
It wasn't a Game Boy Color. It
Okay,
was,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
so
like the
this was a
model
Game
in
Boy Color.
between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they did the Game Boy Pocket, and then the Game Boy Color, and the Color was the Pocket size.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what most of our generation grew up with. You're just describing someone who got that middle tier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
The next one is Doom Eternal. Is it
Yes.
Eternal? Gets the trailer.
Dude.
That trailer
Yeah.
looks gnarly.
The comparison of the suits
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah. The weapons in general are pretty sick, nasty. The melee weapons, the flamethrower, the graphics in general. I think they get me more in the mood of what Doom is. Is like when I think of a first-person shooter, it's always in your face. It's always right there. It gets you in the mood for Doom.
Yep.
Well, and I definitely think that if you haven't seen it and you have any interest whatsoever in what we're saying and about the gameplay, you should go watch it. It's 7 minutes. It's really, really cool, even for like emulating just the basics of what the newest Doom was. This goes far and above that with the abilities.
Yeah.
Also, I think it may still be going. I think it was a week-long sale, but Bethesda is having a Steam sale currently of all of their stuff.
They're also having a sale on PlayStation, and then on PlayStation, there's also a ton of like $10 deals.
Is QuakeCon last weekend?
QuakeCon was last weekend, so that's what the sale was for.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's super sad I might not buy that game just because of my later on topic, which we'll discuss later.
We'll discuss it in a minute. But
one thing I do want to note about that, I'm probably definitely in the minority. The most recent Doom, I already felt this way, and going into this one, when I think of Doom, that's just not what I think of.
Yeah.
I think of the old school Doom. So like, to me, it's like that is cool. That's not what I want, but that's cool.
Yeah.
You want that old pixelated look?
Well, not really. It's just that style to me, like that combat style was just very like slow and rigid. And like I don't know, it felt good. Whereas this new one, like it feels like an FPS or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like Wolfenstein. I didn't care about as a kid, so like those remakes, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I get to play Wolfenstein. But the Doom, it's like I played that as a kid. I don't want this. I want the old one.
it is really interesting to hear you say that because I've heard so much across the board of like some people are in the similar boat as you of like this used to be like clunky and methodical and you had to be really careful about what you're doing. Whereas I've heard other people, including Mark Brown, who I've talked about before on the podcast with his YouTube series Game Maker Toolkit, loves the way they do health in that game, where it forces you to be aggressive. If you are not aggressive, you are going to die. So you have to be up front, and it's a very unique take that fits that world.
You have to take calculated risks, which is what has always been cool about it. It's like the actual gameplay itself. I never played the original Doom outside of adulthood, like where you would have played it, so I don't have that nostalgia factor, so I don't care, but it gets me in the mood for what I think Doom is.
And that's exactly how I am with Wolfenstein, because I never played that as a kid, but then once I got older I was like, oh, this game's cool. Then I look at the other one, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I played this one.
I also just want to say they have a gnarly ass weapon called a meat hook. Like that is awesome.
Check it out if you haven't.
For sure. And what better way to check it out is by saving $300 to play it in 4K.
Absolutely. Right now, GameStop's got a deal going where you can bring in your PS4 Pro, and for $300, they'll give you credit towards an Xbox One X.
That's how bad they're selling.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
It gets worse. They're like, turn in your Nintendo Switch or your PS4 for $250. Or turn in your Xbox One X original, or I'm sorry, your Xbox One or Xbox S, One S, for $200, which honestly is the better of the deal. By far. I don't see anybody turning in a PS4 Pro for $300 to get an Xbox One X.
So you get the $200 credit only if you purchase the.
You have to purchase it there.
The X.
The X, yes, correct. It's not like you could turn your original PS4 for,
PS4 Pro?
PS4 Pro credit.
Like somebody
you can,
who
but not to that extent.
Yeah.
You see, you have a paperweight that's also referred to as an Xbox One. Right
yes.
Now? And it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
No need for it. So I was going to say, if I can get $200 gift card for it, I'll totally do that.
As far as I know, you have to turn it in for that purchase. It's not like a trade-in value where you like, hey, just for this, you'll get this much in credit. I don't know how much they would actually give you. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you off the show about borrowing said paperweight.
Okay.
Because we have a game we still need to beat.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay.
We never got to finish Gears because my sister had an Xbox One S and then was like, I gave it to my friend. I was like, I never finished playing the game. I just spent $60 playing on that. Like, why would you do that? And she's like, he did me a favor. And I was like, well, thanks. So we have been struggling to figure out how we're going to finish that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a paperweight you could use. It's a pretty good paperweight. It's shiny.
The only thing that I don't understand is how did GameStop, they're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. What are they doing with these?
Microsoft is probably doing some type of deal where they're like, hey, we'll comp the price of your consoles.
Yeah, they have to be doing something because GameStop's not in Microsoft's pocket as far as I'm concerned.
Well, not only that, there are weird things that happen. So when a manufacturer ships to a store, the store has made that order. They have a certain amount of time in which they can make those sales. And if they make those sales beforehand, they get to keep all the cash. If they don't make those sales, they have to negotiate with the manufacturer to return it for a certain amount of credit. It's not guaranteed, and it's not all of it.
You could use that credit for the next-gen Xbox next year, right?
I mean, not next year, because that would be insane.
Yeah.
But the year after, sure.
Oh, okay. The next bit of news that we would like to hit on, we can just.
You really think you're going to slide that one in?
It was a good try.
It was a good
try.
I mean, it was with Xbox, man. Who cares what happens with Xbox?
Yeah. We can just keep rolling on to the things owned by Xbox, and that is because the Microsoft Studio
I didn't put the title of the studio on purpose.
Yeah, okay. I was like, what is the name of this studio?
So
It just says Microsoft Studio Head.
is the head of Mojang Studios was recently interviewed about how they do time off in their studio, and is essentially a free bucket. You know, if you have family vacation, if you have paternity leave, maternity leave, sick, whatever the case may be, you are allowed to take it. You have to make sure everyone's squared away. You can't just walk out the door. But her point was, though, is that their studio is incredibly productive, and they've seen an increase in productivity as they've continued to bring this in, continue this system, and bring new people in.
Yep.
And so I just thought it was an interesting point when we're talking about company practices. We all work for various companies that handle vacation time very differently. That can be frustrating. We often hear the comparison of countries like France, where they have up to, what is it?
6 months.
I think it's
A year?
3 months worth of vacation. It's something ridiculous.
No, I was thinking maternity leave.
Oh, yeah.
Like on top of that, you have maternity leave and paternity leave, which
Yep.
is great, but we're never going to see that.
Well,
Not in this culture.
And then you hear the stories of the game industry being notoriously hard on crunch and not getting time with your family. So seeing a studio that is behind such a popular franchise take this turn, I'd love to see more of this and kind of hear what everyone's thoughts were.
I do wonder how much of that is because they are Swedish or Danish, or I don't remember exactly what
Sweden. Her that where she was working at was
It's
in
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's where the original dude Mojang is from.
Yeah.
Notch, yep. I definitely think it's very cool. I also find it very fascinating because we're starting to see a lot of companies toy with this. I saw Amazon, is about a year ago, did something similar to where they're like, oh, we're going to do the 30-hour work week. Now, they did do it with somewhat of a caveat of where they did a 30-hour work week, but your salary is reduced if you work 30 hours type deal, which, I mean, if you work at Amazon, you're obviously well off. You're not, struggling or anything. So you can do that. What they found was it was like, in the beginning, a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, I'll do this 30 hours. I'll get my time back, yada, yada. And then it was like within like 3 months, it was like 80% of it came back to the 40-hour week. And it's probably because of the money aspect. But if it's unlimited PTO, that's cool. Like, I have unlimited time off, but it's not paid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that the fluctuation, it's one of those weird things where I feel like this kind of thing can succeed because of the fact that it is, you got to talk to your supervisor, but as long as you have a justified reason, you're not going to be penalized for doing so.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's cool because one of our buddies that works at y'all's company has been talking about doing like the AT hike or like the PCP or PCT hike or whatever it is, the California hike. But these hikes are like 4 to 6 months range. And that's not something, obviously, most people have to quit their job, do the hike, come back, find another job. And if the company's cool, even the paid aspect is even cooler, but I feel like that'd be a scenario where they're like, hey, man, this has been my lifelong goal. Can I do this? And they'd be like, yeah, sure. We can do it leave in November.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I agree.
I feel like the Walking Dead season finale would be that PCP hike that you just explained. Really, just film this. That'll be the season finale.
Well, especially with
It's
the state
PCT.
on fire right
Yeah.
now.
It's definitely PCT.
Well, I think
yeah.
he did just change his hike because of that, right?
Yes, he did 100%.
The next bit of news that you had
just
is
what?
he was
changed
going
his
to
hike.
hike the PCT, but then it's obviously on fire, so he ex-nayed that
It's a little
one.
difficult.
The next bit of news that we had is Unity is doing a survey about indie publishing.
Yeah, so this one was interesting from a more behind-the-scenes aspect. Unity is a popular game engine. You've probably seen it in a lot of games, especially indie games, but larger companies like Telltale, they're moving over to Unity for their next game coming out after the Walking Dead series finale. But they put out a survey of, I think it was roughly 2,700 people, studios, and of that, 67% said they're interested in making their next game self-published. So that would allow them to release on Steam, on PSN, Google Play Store, whatever the case may be, without having to have a publisher. But seeing this kind of hike is intriguing because you're going to see publishers kind of try and find new ways to find revenue. That's why you've seen EA recently start with their EA, originals, with these smaller companies and letting them keep the profits. Like, everyone's trying to find a way to where they can get the piece of the pie, because now that the tools are available for everyone and anyone can do it at any point in time, there's kind of not really a reason for a publisher aside from making these big games that require manufacturing.
Yep. I definitely think it's something very similar to like how we're kind of seeing with the YouTube movement of like everyone has a camera on their phone, so everyone can become a YouTuber. So it's no longer like, oh, you have money, you can make videos. Now it's like, who's the best?
Yeah.
Like, what's the best content? And I think gaming's fortunate for gamers is going to quickly become the same of content wins.
Well, and we've seen Kickstarter success with things like Shovel Knight. Like, now you
Star
really
Citizen.
don't. Star Citizen, whatever. You really don't need a publisher
It
for
might
money.
be a
Exactly.
success still.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah.
In 5 years.
But you don't like the roles that a publisher used to fill are slowly being seeped away due to just open markets.
Yep.
So
I can't say I'm sad about that.
to-
But I am, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like Ubisoft gets a lot of flack, but I actually really enjoy that studio, that publishing house, and I
Yeah.
like their games.
Yep.
So I would not like to see them go away. But then you have the other example of like Activision and EA. And Activision, I
Yeah.
feel like, is kind of middle ground. They do some good things, some bad things. EA's tends to be far more negative because they seem to be a little bit more corporate greedy. But
Yeah, but I think those are also like obviously the examples we see all the time. But like thinking about in other industries and whatnot, like at the end of the day, like a lot of people like the I can't remember the name of it. I just had it in my head. That weird movie with Will Smith on Netflix came out last fall.
Bright.
Bright.
Right.
Yeah.
So like critically, it didn't do that well.
Yeah. Is
it
Viewership
Bright?
it might have done well.
It's Bright.
It's Bright.
Starting to mess with my brain.
But critically, it didn't do that well. But like, it's something where Netflix can fund it and be like, "Hey, cool. Some people like this. You get this content. Like
Yeah.
Netflix can publish it and handle that. Like, gaming could be the same thing. If there's still publishers out there, it might be like, "Hey, you can't afford to do this, and you need this piece of technology. We can back it." Like, for example, No Man's Sky would have never been anything without Sony.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
But we got a game out of it, and Sony's not even really a publisher like that.
Well, and I also think that the biggest problem we've had in recent years in the game industry with publishers ruling everything has been the fallout of the middle tier, of the middle-aged developer that was
Yeah.
making the AA games. And indie studios have seemingly picked that up. And so I do believe that that market can continue to increase. We can get things like Bright that are okay. They're
Yeah.
not great, but people still enjoy them. No
Yep.
Man's Sky is a great example of that. And still see success there and kind of fill in the holes and the gaps.
I wonder if we're going to start seeing kind of like a transition with Epic changing out their policy as well, too. I'll be interested to see
No,
how.
cash cow. That's it. They shut down their test platform, and we don't need no Paracon. We got Fortnite. Why would we do that? Moving on to a little bit more of a unoptimistic bit of news. The writer from IGN who decided they were going to use some pretty similar source material seemingly is no longer there.
Yeah. So if you don't follow the site, last week they pulled their Dead Cells review after the YouTube channel Boomstick Gaming released a video stating that IGN had stolen the review that he put up on the website.
Wonderful name. Wonderful name.
Wonderful name. You saw the video. You said you really liked
It was
it.
a really good video.
Yeah, I've been
His
meaning to
original
watch it.
content was great.
And so in their own due diligence, they kind of backtracked and saw what he put out for their channel. There was some more evidence brought up by Kotaku's Jason Schreier and other individuals that showed that Philip, who had his own YouTube channel beforehand, was plagiarizing reviews there. IGN parted ways with him. I think, personally, they handled it in the classiest way possible, and unfortunately, they're going to be a
Railed.
target for the next year and a half easy.
Yeah.
Because they pulled the review, left a note basically stating, like, we know about the controversy, we're looking into it. After he was fired, they put another updated memo essentially saying, you know, we have another reviewer coming in. They will take care of it this week. Brandon Tyrell, I believe is his name, ended up reviewing it, gave it a 9.5 instead of the 9.7, which I think was smart on their
Yeah.
part to not match the 9.7. But at the same time, if people don't believe him now, I don't blame them to an extent. It sucks because one individual can ruin the entire shape of this
100%,
company.
yeah.
And I listened to their weekly Nintendo podcast, which he was the host of, and they 100% did not give it the time of day, which I think was smart because they don't need to. It
Yeah.
was in case you didn't know, Philip Mewson has parted ways with IGN. If you want more information, we have a wonderful editorial on the website you can read, and then just moved on with the show. So
They handled it expertly.
they're handling it very well, but unfortunately, it just seems like no one's happy in this situation. Philip Mewson recently put up a YouTube video explaining that the plagiarism was not intended, which he quickly put down because someone pulled a third video that he seemingly plagiarized from someone else. So
How do you accidentally plagiarize? Oh, that's right. You don't.
yeah,
Yep.
it's one thing if you're using similar phrasings here and there, but this is bullet
It's bad.
point for bullet point.
Yeah, I
on
think
the-
you
Buzzword
changed
for
like 3
buzzword.
words.
It was like buzzword for buzzword at times.
It was really bad.
I just loved reading the bullet points. It was like, you know what? Everybody uses those words nowadays. You know, it's okay. Well, watching the second one. Oh man, it's not looking great. Third one, dude, what the hell?
How are you a large influencer on the internet and not think somebody's going to find this?
Absolutely.
Well, see, I don't think he was large at all, and then I think he was an okay reviewer, like nothing big on his YouTube channel.
But you're on a site with a lot of traffic. But then you went to IGN,
yes.
I mean, like
you can't knock the hustle, I guess, to an extent, but like even if you plagiarize the first two on your old channel, like that's not good. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, you work at IGN, you probably should for real do this one.
There's no reason to. I mean, we talked about this earlier before the show, and we quoted, laziness seems to be the only thing here. But how much laziness can it really be? Because he's either like skimming through the video over and over again, listening to the guy, or he's got a transcript of it and he's figuring out a way to rewrite it. In that time, you could have written the review.
Yeah.
Like it's really mind-boggling to me. There's
better yet, it's a review. It's your own thoughts of it. Like,
exactly.
You just pull it out of your own brain. Like it's not that hard.
We discussed like reviews now are not more than a few hundred words at best, and for games like this, I mean, it doesn't need to be long-winded. It's not a breakdown. It's just a quick review of what you feel like you played. And they said he played the game.
Yeah, he played the game. He
like
had
multiple hours worth.
He beat the game. He had positive things to say about it around the office, but he just seemingly pulled this review from other individuals.
What kills me as well, this is somewhat of a less relevant to him per se, but it's more relevant to kind of how the industry works and all. Like, Dead Cells is a great example to me. I played that game in December, and I was like, this game is amazing, or whenever it came out. I think it was December range. And I was like, hey, this game's amazing. This is awesome. And it was like, no one on the internet cared. Mm-hmm. It was like talking to a dead sea. And then like, hey, this game's coming back out on Switch, and everybody's like, oh my God, we gotta review it. This is great. So like, I mean, I understand the dude's probably like, he probably is a lazy dude. No offense, maybe offense, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But like, it's one of those things where like, there's been a ton of reviews in the past 6 months for this game. Yeah. Because the game's been out. People have been playing on PC.
I do want to clarify. The game officially released the day it released on Switch. It was on early access all the way up until then.
It was out.
I just want to make that caveat.
But it was one of those things where like, if this was similar and it wasn't like keyword for keyword, buzzword for buzzword, like I get it, because I think it was maybe Mitch Dreyer posted something about like, hey, whenever I write reviews, this is what I do. I don't read anyone else's review. Yeah. I play the game, and then I write down my opinions. I complete my video or my synopsis, and then afterwards I'll be like, cool, mine's done, published, finished, out. Now I'll see what other people did and what other people think. And he's like, just so that I don't even mess up. Like, there's no chance. Like, I can, at nighttime, be like, hey, there's no way I copied anybody. This is my opinion.
And be like, hey, man, what's up with this? And be like, I literally played the game, wrote the review, then ran around.
I didn't see daylight for 2 days.
And a lot of reviewers are open about their process. A lot of journalists will admit, like, they have a Discord channel essentially where they all like, hey, I'm reviewing this game, so they can help each other get through tough parts. Like, I'm sure there's some form of communication, and there are words we all use to describe these games, but
and what I was going to say about Dead Cells in particular is just like, it is a game that's been out for all intents and purposes for 6 to 8 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you could have totally maybe have accidentally watched a video. And you know what? Mark said this really cool thing, and he said something about the word discombobulation, and you know what? I want to use that. So it's like, I get that. But this is like, you went Control-C, Control-V. Let me change like 10 words.
Yep. Yeah. And not just once or twice. It is blatant throughout the entire thing.
You know, it's sad because, like, I think we've read on IGN for long enough to know that, like, we don't believe that this is rampant. Yeah. This is not a cultural thing within the company. And it's just super sad to see this. But at the same time, like, everybody's complaining about oversight. Oh, yeah, they should have paid attention. I'm like, what are you going to do? Read every single review that happened like, when it was put in pre-beta?
It's not like Jason Dreyer or somebody like came out and was like, oh, hey, this video is a lot like this. It was the guy who did it was like, guys, this is my video.
Yeah.
So it's like,
he's like, it's no big deal. I just want to be compensated. And I'm like, okay, well,
what would be the best is if IGN hires that guy.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God, that would just be the greatest.
Yeah, but I mean, if his work, I guess was.
I thought it was a good video. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a real good video.
Yeah,
it was as good as the one that got copied. Obviously, that guy was getting paid.
But at the same time, like, I don't hold them responsible.
No,
for
I don't think
like
they
that.
Should.
I don't really hear about people saying, oh, screw IGN. It's not like that. They handled it well. They did what they needed to, and I think the people that were
I do think it
brought to justice.
It doesn't help their never-ending crap getting for
paid
for reviews. And
I agree with
whatever.
that.
Yeah.
What boggles my mind more than anything else about this is that Dead Cells is apparently a good game.
Yeah.
So how could you not talk about a good game?
Yeah, I know.
That you played. I
Yeah.
know.
That's what I don't
I
get.
want to.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, I was telling my roommate about it, and I was like, just super excited. He was like, yeah, I never heard of it. I was like, yeah, I mean, I played it like 8 months ago. This game's awesome because of this and this and this. And it's like, it's different. It's cool. It's easy to talk about. It is different. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it's like, oh, this is another game exactly like Rogue Legacy.
Yep.
Different character. And you're like, no, it's unique. It's its own thing. It's cool.
I think you'll like it, actually.
I know. I keep reading it, and I'm like, I kind of want to play it now, but there's
You
so
need to
many
play it on your
things.
Switch so you can tell me if I'm going to like
I probably
hey,
will.
if you
I've
want to
been
play it,
tempted.
I have it on my PC down there.
it. Nobody
It's
plays
probably-
on
My
PC
hands
anymore.
don't do this thing where they just keep doing this
if you
when
take
it
a-
sees the keyboard.
If you take a USB and you just go, when you do this, oh, look, a controller.
Oh, well, why don't you just play it on the thing it was intended for then?
60 frames,
I don't know
120
if you know this,
frames,
but PC
constant
gaming
frame rate.
is dying. Could you please go on the next
And
news
it
topic?
again, my hand, it's
Well,
like,
how can PC gaming die when Intel was making new processors?
that's a good question.
Segways are hot.
Segways are awesome.
That was good.
Oh, anyway,
proud.
so Intel, as we know, pushed the release of their new 10 nanometer transistor processors to next year, late next year. So the new i9 processors are due out October. I think it was October 1st to be exact.
It is October 1st.
So, is there any chance that this might affect other consoles that are coming out?
i9s,
No,
no, not
no.
a chance.
No, everything's AMD, so you know it's
and also-
not going to affect anything.
And also,
Yeah.
these aren't like the main consumer line that most people buy are i5s and i7s.
Yeah.
That's usually what people buy to put in computers. i9s, I mean, people do that, but
Yeah.
they're not
Like,
normal people.
You're talking about somebody who's willing to spend $600 on a processor alone. Like
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: the top end consumer CPUs that we paid for, or processors that
$400 or
we paid for,
$500.
yeah, it's like $400. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like you're only buying the really top end i9s if you're just sort of tossing money out like
Yeah.
crazy anyway to build a PC,
A baller.
or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, or if you're trying to build a workstation.
Yeah.
But that's because you're looking at like 16 threads of processing versus like I can just see the sparks sometimes.
On that
Sparks, you mean just a dust cloud going.
No, but no. Compared to like the 4 cores with the 4 cores that they've got going on with a.
You keep talking. You don't worry about us over here.
I can't help it. You guys do all kinds of ridiculous
They
stuff.
do weird stuff.
I'm
man,
just gonna pay
sorry.
attention to you.
That's a good point.
No, it's compared to the 4 cores anyway that like they had from some of the older lineups. So.
Yep.
It's actually interesting to see, but I think this is like a short gameplay for them to just get. See now
sorry.
I can't focus on anybody.
He did it.
I'm sorry.
But no, like
Happy birthday, by the way.
I
bud.
thanks.
Happy
But-
birthday.
I think this is really just gonna be a.
Bomb.
Mine's for America.
America.
I think this is just a short gameplay for them, though. I think
Yeah.
this is like them.
I mean, I definitely
this
think-
is them beefing up like some of their existing processors, just
Yeah.
because it's like, well, we're not coming out with this till late next year. We got to do something this year to be able to compete.
there's
So,
no
Gotta
reason
pad
why
the
they leave the
stats.
market empty. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you
no.
definitely want to put something out
but
there.
yeah, because if AMD's coming out with AMD's coming out with 10 nanometer chips, and are going to wipe you off the off the board for this coming year. You may as well do something. So.
Gotta pad
But-
the stats and appease the stock. Stock. I could not say stock. I was like, Jesus.
You
Yeah.
thought he was drinking water. That's a vodka.
Yeah.
That's why I said this is for America.
For more
Also,
like it's for Russia.
in the next bit of news, it seems that John's favorite company is trying to force crossplay by just low blowing the old PlayStation.
Oh, it's pretty good. Now Bethesda is actually coming back, or Pete Hines specifically taking swipes at
Not Tender
PlayStation.
swipes. Not Tender swipes.
He's like,
Okay, so no, to be fair, it's indirect swipes
okay.
because he never specifically said Sony or PlayStation. However, he said that we will not launch on any platform that does not support cross-platform play for Elder Scrolls. What's the new one? Legends?
Online?
Maybe.
No,
Blaze?
6?
No.
No, it's the 6, but I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, they didn't give a name for Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls
okay.
6.
I was about to say it was just Elder Scrolls 6.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Legends, yeah. But yeah, they
No,
flat-
Legends.
Legends is their card game.
Yeah, Legends is a card game.
That's what it is.
is insisting Elder Scroll Legends will progress will carry regardless of platform.
Yeah, because Elder Scrolls
Yeah, that
Legends
makes
is
sense.
in
That's like
early
Hearthstone,
access right
basically.
now. Yeah.
So it'll
But
just come out
That's
on
not
Xbox.
as big. Okay.
Yeah,
But
but
if
still,
it
they're-
was 6.
But the,
If
but,
it was 6.
but the idea is that they're pushing for cross-platform play across everything.
Yeah.
So I imagine this is just kind of the first
It's
blow
the
of them
stepping
saying,
stone.
look, we're going to flat out tell you if you don't support cross-platform play and tell us we can't do it, then you're just not going to get the game.
You know what's worse? If the next generation of console wars is the same in terms of PlayStation dominance to Xbox very subparness. If
It
it is
won't
the
be.
same, but I'm saying if it is the same, and then this happens and they roll with Xbox, then that could make it interesting
Yeah.
because that would be the only like. No offense to Halo or Gears, like that's not pushing units.
No.
But Elder Scrolls 6 might push units.
And Elder Scrolls pushed units originally on 360 when it came out.
Yep.
It was a Morrowind originally, and then eventually
Skyrim.
Oblivion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oblivion. There was because Skyrim was the first Elder Scrolls release on PlayStation.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised because this is a losing battle for PlayStation. It's
Yep.
the dumbest thing to
Well-
put your flag in and stand on.
To me,
They want
you have somebody-
control.
and you have somebody big like Bethesda that's going to come around and say, hey, by the way, we're just not going to release a game on your
Yeah.
platform if you don't support cross-platform play. This is just kind of a stepping stone.
They're one of the
you
few
know?
ones that can do that, though.
Right.
Like, there's not many companies that
Right.
are able to do
Oh
this.
yeah, but it's not a smart play. Like
No.
they're losing money, and they're not just losing money from partnerships, but they're losing money from players. Like Greg Miller of Kind of Funny has notoriously said over and over again, he plays Fortnite on Switch now, completely abandoned his PlayStation account after spending $100 on there. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
and he was willing to spend more if it carried over to his Switch, but it doesn't. So why bother?
Yeah, no,
And people are doing that.
I totally agree with that. But the fact is, like, when you talk about losing control over who can do what, where money is being spent, you want it spent on your console. You're trying to push sales on your store. Like,
But the
there should
difference is
be-
the publishers don't want to do that because ultimately that means that they're not giving the customers what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious. I think the best example we're seeing right now is Fortnite, who's giving the middle finger to Android. I really just want to see how that's going to pay out.
That is
Yeah.
going to be really
Because I really think that is going to really hurt them. And I think Fortnite's going to cave. I think if Epic is smart, they will cave and just eat the 30%. One, you're already paying it on Apple.
Yeah,
You
that's
dumb.
what got me.
Okay, to be fair, but
No.
that's because there's literally no choice.
Not just
Yeah.
Apple, but on PlayStation,
and
on Switch, on Xbox. Like you're
yep.
paying it everywhere. Why
Yeah,
do
you're
you-
paying
why
30% across the board, and you want to loophole it on one market?
Once again, why is this the flag you're sticking in
Yeah.
the ground?
they just want to try to make as much money as they possibly can, and that's what PlayStation.
Well, see, what's going to be I think I was talking to Mark about this the other day, and this could be the scenario to where Epic could unintentionally cost everyone money on cell phones, because if they can back in the Android market, and then other majors are like, cool, we're not going to be on the Android market either. Then that's how they make money. Then Android's going to have to be like, hey guys, because you hate us, we don't make money anymore. If you want this platform, pay us. And then your phone's going to go up, and everybody's like, oh, I really like Epic.
Well,
and you're like, get out of here.
Google's gonna have to go the Apple route, just lock down all your devices, and if you want an app on there, it's gonna have to be approved app. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only reason the rest of the platforms are the way they are.
Yeah.
I can't blame Sony for wanting to control something, but at the same time, like,
You can't.
I don't.
But it's something as simple as cross-platform play. Like, first off, that means also they have to maintain separate sets and sections of servers
Yeah.
to be able to run this. Like, can you imagine?
No, it would be like that, because you can play cross-platform now on Fortnite, on PlayStation and PC. That's totally allowed,
Yeah.
But-
and mobile.
and mobile.
well, everywhere but Xbox. Yeah.
No, and
you,
Switch.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
play
really?
with
Okay.
a PlayStation. You can't play with Xbox or Switch, but when you play on PlayStation, you choose to play cross-platform or you choose to not, and that's on Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation. So if you're playing on Switch, you can choose. I'm just gonna play Switch Kids,
Yeah.
or I'm just gonna play. So that's what I'm saying. Like the server thing, like they're already doing that. It's just a matter of do we allow this? Is the shared pool bigger? Would be the only impact there.
Well, but the difference is there's actually cross-platform play. Like in Bethesda's case, anyway, for if PlayStation does not allow cross-platform play. Well, okay, no,
think-
I guess I
I
get
think the
what
biggest
you mean,
reason
but
with Legends
but-
is partially because, no offense to Legends, that game's gonna suck.
It's just a card game.
Hearthstone is gonna poo on it, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna compete. And Hearthstone has low player bases at times.
I think the big thing here, though, is that just because Fortnite is allowing that kind of split server pool doesn't mean every game will.
Yeah.
And there are going to be games that will not come to PlayStation
Yeah.
because they won't allow it. And as that builds up, you're going to lose out on sales.
I mean, it's no different than saying, hey, this is, an Xbox exclusive.
It's very different, though, because this is a third-party person who is saying, we want to include everyone on this. Will you allow us? Like, they're actively making it an exclusive by saying no.
They're not even asking. They're saying, if you won't let us, we're just not going to allow it.
That's
on
like
our
having a
platform.
group of friends saying, "Hey, we're all throwing a block party. We have to use your house," and it's like, no, and it's like, fine, then you can't come to the party.
Yeah.
It's not using their house, though, because all the resources are on the games.
Yep.
It's like saying we're having a block party, and here are the 6 houses, but your house has to be included too.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to allow us to use your house, then fine. You're not allowed to the party either. We're just going to continue to do the party in these other.
And that's
5,
where
6
I'm
houses.
Sony, and I'm like, all right, and I go and grab as many speakers as I possibly can, and I just crank them.
But they're not grabbing speakers. That's the problem. Is they're literally just sitting
No,
on
you're
this.
not wrong.
They're putting up a big fence.
The problem right now is that the reason why I half jokingly said that they won't be dominant is I truly don't believe that if Sony continues this direction, they're going to have a chance of being dominant next generation. Like, cross play is happening. Whether you like it or not, it is a thing that consumers want now.
Yep.
And if you do not supply it, you will lose out. And just because you're the big dog today doesn't mean you're going to be the big dog tomorrow.
You're not
But
wrong,
if you're
what
the
makes
only
you
dog,
different then?
you don't
Like,
need cross-platform.
What's the draw of saying, like, okay, fine, anybody can just play on whatever they want because we're being pushed around is what they're saying, and that's why they don't like it. But what makes you special then?
God of War, Last of Us.
Yeah, the IPs,
Spider-Man.
which I mean,
Santa
Xbox
Monica.
doesn't have right now, but will
San
after
Diego.
they get done with
Yeah, I mean,
all their buys.
You don't need to be different on Fortnite. You just want to be able to sell that PlayStation Fortnite bundle that everyone gave a bunch of to and say, guess what? You can play with everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I totally understand where they're coming from too.
I understand where they're coming from. I just think it's a bad play.
Yep.
I think I understand the logic. I think the logic is flawed because it's old school mentality.
Well, we'll see if Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have anything to push on it. Because, I mean, this is the stepping stone. They're probably going to fight it, and they're probably going to, just
Right. Well,
shove them. But
and it
once
will
they see
be-
that dip.
And it will be very exciting when we do.
Yeah.
The next bit of news that we have is West Virginia is becoming the first state to allow for voting on a mobile phone.
West Virginia.
I was going to say,
Dang.
they're
I
the first
knew-
state that
I knew
allows
that was gonna
incest. Sorry.
Wow, that was
Wow.
He said incest right as we stopped singing.
Yeah. Talk about a mic drop.
Well, that's awkward. No, actually, I'm kind of glad to see this.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've actually seen, something as simple as voting finally come to the 21st century, other than having, like digital voting stations. Like
Yeah,
on
I'm
site,
honestly
but-
terrified about this, honestly.
It's
As
a
much as I'm like,
50-50.
this is a cool idea, I'm like, we're not ready for this. We are not ready for this as a society.
Well, so first off, the way the technology works kind of cool. The app is called Votes, VOATZ. And
Wow, we can't even spell it right.
the way that
Great
it works
start.
is you take a picture of your driver's license, front and back, or front, whatever it is, just to get all the information. And then you actually do like a video recording of your face sort of around. And the idea is that they actually use imaging software to validate your face versus the image that they have on the ID.
What if you have a potato for a phone?
What if you have plastic surgery?
I
Then,
want
then you
his
have to. Then
face.
you still have the ability to go down to the polls like you normally would have and vote there.
Yeah. Because your
they
hardware
even
limitations doesn't mean you don't vote.
Do they even have phone signal in West Virginia?
I just want to know.
Why are you being so
What?
cruel to West Virginians?
I just want to
They've
know.
done nothing to you.
Did you guys all vote in the last election?
Yes.
No.
I have voted
Have you voted?
every year since
No.
I've been able to vote.
You've never voted?
No, I
Have you voted?
No.
You've never voted?
I
Okay.
know that.
So when you go to vote, in a very nice way, if you wanted to vote for me, how hard would that be?
It wouldn't be hard.
Not
But
at all.
You know why it wouldn't be hard? Because I've never been to a voting station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we probably should redact this after the fact. But I just every year I just go, I'm gonna be on vacation, and I just do a mail-in
Absentee.
ballot. Yeah, every year.
Oh, well, so if you go to any of the voting stations here, in a very nice way, it is a joke. Everybody's like, "No, you got your license? Cool. Go over there." You're like,
That's it.
"All right, walk over here." It is like I don't even know if they look at you. They just
Yeah.
like look at your car and like, "That's a real driver's license."
Wait. So how is that any worse than like doing it on your phone?
No, that's what I'm saying. So like that authentication, like they're at least trying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, like one, like it's the how easy is it going to be to like ripped off, or like my only question is really duping.
Taking a picture and just doing the face scan.
But my thing is like, wait, if we're gonna be like, I think this is not a terribly insecure way to do this, but by and large, taking a picture of your ID is pretty insecure. because you got your reflective stuff and all that stuff you can't really tell in a photo, blah, blah, blah. But why don't you just let me enter my social and just be done with it? Let me go to a website, enter in my social on my birthday. I mean, I get that sucks, but like if you're gonna steal my wallet, you can obviously do the same thing. So
well, but that's the whole point of doing the imaging or having to do the video of your entire face and them actually taking the image to make sure that you are who you say you are.
Literally just take our little head and then put a picture on it.
I honestly think this is the best governmental play at we need more money for servers because of reasons.
Well, actually, the federal government's against this.
That's good.
Actually, several.
I don't like the face recognition.
Several people with DHS have already said this is an awful idea, but we give West Virginia credit for being the what do they call them? The guinea pigs or something like that.
I think test dummies is the right word here.
Yeah, but actually I think that was the word they used.
Hey, dummies.
But the but the idea was, like this is great. This is great that there's new technology. The new technology coming in for voting.
Why didn't you use your ring?
Oh, I could use my ring.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I'm wasting it. But it's cool that they're taking the next steps.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see that we're kind of like bringing some of this other archaic stuff like into the 21st century.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love not to have to leave the house to vote. I might actually do it then.
I agree.
Exactly. But I think that's part of the. I mean, like
it's not hard.
It's really not.
It's really easy.
I saw
think of what voter turnout was like, though.
No, I understand. It's because people are lazy.
No. You can be lazy and vote. Yeah. How do you vote, Brent?
Yeah,
what's worse?
Yeah, but that requires me to mail something, and I gotta get a stamp.
How does
I have to go out anyway?
Yeah, you gotta go get registered and stuff too. The same way, it is just as hard to mail it in as it is to register, and that's why like 30% of this country is not even registered. We didn't register to vote.
It had nothing really.
Here you can do it at the DMV.
Here you do it at the DMV when you get your license.
I just don't want to feel responsible for the things that happen after the fact.
You should vote. If you don't like the candidates, you just write someone in.
I do. I'm sorry, real quick political rant here. It is very bothersome that I can't vote in. I know people do this from a saboteur perspective, but I hate sometimes that I can't vote in both primaries.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Because that's like not to give a very specific example, but in the last political election, there was one party where I was like, in the primaries, I really don't want one to win.
Yep.
And I could not vote. And I was like, ooh, all because I registered not with you? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Get that out of here.
Yeah,
well,
I think
it depends on what
kind of
state you're in, too.
Yeah, it is dependent upon the state.
Like in
North Carolina is strict party primary voting.
Like, same in Florida. Like, I was undecided, and I was like, well, I would still like to vote in a primary if I had the opportunity. Nope.
Yep.
If you're undecided, you should be able to vote for primary.
No, so it is state by state basis.
Okay. Because here, if you're undecided, you could vote for a primary.
But you have to pick one.
You had to pick one.
You can't do both.
Which I was like,
it's dumb because I'm like, if I
could
at least help pick between two better candidates instead of like, okay, I'm going to choose one here, and it's like, oh, I'm stuck with whatever they got, and then whichever one that the rest. I mean,
a great example is our last election.
Yeah.
Both primaries, you're like, well, if I don't vote against this guy, then that guy could go up against that person, and then both of them suck.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting is that this whole system in place is at least a step forward to authenticating, so you could do a vote-to-vote basis. Because you're right, like walking in right now, it's super easy, and the thought process of someone going to 4 or 5 voter like areas and voting isn't very hard. Especially when you have friends who don't vote, so you just go, let me see your ID.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me.
Yeah,
100%. And as long as that person's registered, it will be so easy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I don't even know if they check my name sometimes. It's like, Jesus.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And even if they did, it's like, oh, I'm Brent.
Yeah.
Okay. You look like a Brent.
Better
cool.
you vote. You just get back out in the back of the line. Just walk over to
Yeah. So I think having some way to match, strictly match 1-to-1, make it super easy for people to get there and secure. That's like the dream.
We should all have
working.
We should all have to sign and vote in blood. Just take a finger prick, sign it.
That sounds like.
What about the anemics? They're like, I'm dying for this.
Well, they vote
nightmare.
They vote once.
You vote until you don't believe.
You get one vote if you're anemic. Moving on to the next bit of news. The Note 9 got announced last week. They showed it. Very interesting. It's one of the most curious I'm going to be for a phone's release because the phone released nothing specific or nothing like specific or unique or powerful or crazy or like they were like, oh, look at these cool 10 new features. They're pretty much like, hey, you know that phone last year? Same thing.
Yep.
Galaxy S9 V2.
It's much more powerful. Well, it's a lot more powerful on the inside, but it's the exact same case. The pen is now Bluetooth and charges within itself.
And you can use it like a button to take
And you can
pictures
use
with.
like a button to take a
To
picture.
be fair, that's actually pretty.
That is a
cool
cool piece feature. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Well, the camera's now horizontal instead of vertical. It
it's
could
the
be
same.
important based on your
Orientation.
photography prowess. I don't
But
know.
it's one of those things where I'm very curious of the public because I think it's a very big, powerful, like a very big power spike. Like even from Mark's phone, like they have a gaming version essentially.
Yeah.
It's 500 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM on board.
Good lord.
It's a beast.
Good
Well,
lord.
But it's one of
also
those-
Take the 516, right?
Yeah, so you can push it over a terabyte.
Oh wow.
It's 512 on board, and you get the you get the
512,
still
I'm sorry.
the SD card slot. So it's interesting to me because it's one of the first phones that we've seen that from the exterior looks the exact same.
yeah.
However, it's getting a lot on the inside.
One of the first phones in a recent
Yeah.
memory. Like,
Yeah.
because they used to do that us all the
You
time.
had the Crazer and the Razor
yeah.
in like 2008.
I am interested to see how the market reacts to this,
Yep.
considering the fact that the new, the sexy,
There's
whatever
no
it is.
oohs or ahs
Yeah,
from it.
like this definitely, especially just looking at the phone.
Yep, you're like that's
there is nothing.
the Note 8.
Well-
Oh no, it's not. Okay.
To be fair, over the last Note, though, I mean, this still is a bit more of an upgrade, though, than it was. But the
Well, it's
idea
a
is
big upgrade on the inside. That's
Right,
what I'm
right. But
The
the
screen's
but
bigger, isn't it?
slightly,
Maybe.
it's like a 6. Like I think mine's like a 6.3, and it's like a 6.4.
But it's no longer
or
like
something
I feel
that.
like every year I mean, and granted, we're getting to the point of diminishing returns, but it's always one of those things where it's like, oh,
Bitch ass phone.
But my screen to body ratio is better though.
it's one of those things where it's like,
That
oh well,
screen, though.
where oh this year we get Face ID and we get animojis and we get these 12 new apps and now you can squeeze the side of your phone to ask Google and
Yeah.
all those bits and bobs where they're like, here's the new, here's the cool. Whereas this one, they're like, same phone, more power. Play games. Fortnite partnership. Woo!
I do think it was funny. They're like, you can get Fortnite on here first
Did
for
you
48 hours.
did you watch the Samsung event?
No. Why would I watch the Samsung?
Because it honestly had some real good moments because
Okay.
of this. I really like Casey Neistat and Ninja both. You were both fantastic people. But just Samsung, you got to quit trying so hard, guys. Because they were just like, yeah, we have the biggest YouTuber and the biggest Twitch streamer, and they're going to talk about phones. And you're like, that's who you pick.
Mm-hmm.
They're real phone experts.
The biggest.
You could
YouTuber.
take guys. There's a guy named like MKBHD, Unbox. There are lots of guys review phones.
Yep.
They don't.
No.
Just throwing it out there. They don't. They use them. I'll give you that.
It would have been like fine if they were like showcasing Ninja playing on the phone.
Yeah.
They showed Casey playing. The piece that I saw was Casey playing and Ninja teaching him how to play.
Okay,
And it was like,
that's fine.
all right,
Yeah.
this is a phone event. Okay, I just gotta put that in perspective.
No. What's better is MKBHD is probably sitting out in the crowd like that could have been.
No,
me.
he's probably in the back filming his review.
That would have actually been really cool if they had like the unboxers come on stage, unbox the phone,
Yeah.
hand it over to.
Why has that not been at a press
I don't know
kit
who
yet?
This other guy is
Unbox therapy.
No, the other one.
MKBHD.
Hand it over to him, so
Yeah.
he just kind of does like a quick review on Mike, who hands it to Ninja,
Yeah.
who boots up Fortnite, and then showcases to Casey how to
Yeah.
play it.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a really cool piece of.
It's almost like Samsung. You're a company that just thrives on making content with your people. That's, no offense, a better idea than anything I've seen you do in 2 years.
I also want you to know that I have a Samsung phone, so if you want to contact me to help with any of this,
Yeah,
We would be
at
glad.
Jesterhead something. It's on.
Jesterhead03028
That right there.
gmail.com.
Just hit him up. Down for partnerships. He is down. Next bit of news that I had, once again, also in the technology realm.
These are a little dirty.
What?
I love that it brought Dylan to a complete stop.
So, what you don't know about this podcast is that it's filmed on a Sony camera. And Sony has been doing really, really big things for a while in the camera department. However, they've been becoming very popular with action cams because they're really fast. They use mirrorless technology, which makes them super fast. Tried and true photographers use Nikon or Canon. That's just how it's been. That's the ways of old. Brent is broken.
I like Fujifilm.
I'm trying to keep it together.
But that is the ways of old, and it seems that finally Sony is actually like coming up, and people are like big time photographers and big time like people who take lots of photos other than sports photography are starting to really notice, and they're like, hey, this whole Sony mirrorless thing is a big deal. Nikon's working on mirrorless now, Canon's working on mirrorless now, and everybody's like, hey, they're coming. This is bad.
Well, that's because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you could. Sony's had like the best sensors for a while now. I mean,
They've had the best sensors, and what's weird is they own Zeiss, who makes the best glass.
Yeah.
So it's like
How is this not like the better combo? How has this not been the most popular thing for a long time now?
Well, I think it's just the market catching up with itself. A lot of people didn't trust it.
I think a lot of people were like, I like a Nikon.
Yeah. I mean, you
We're
have
used to the brands, I
Canon
guess.
and Nikon and whatever else.
Well, I mean,
was.
Kodak back.
Kodak.
When it was,
Well, Kodak and Fujifilm died because they didn't want to change.
Yeah.
And now you've got this company actually.
Film
doing
is the
things.
way.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I think if you look at Sony as a company, after the 3D TVs failed miserably and lost them lots of money, they pulled back on all of their departments. So them
Because they only had 2 departments making money.
yeah, I know
A
they
PlayStation and a camera sensor.
and they had to sell Vio, and so now that they're kind of rounding out again, I think this is them taking a step forward once more.
Yep.
It's definitely very excited. I'm very excited. I really like Sony cameras. Sony, send me cameras, please.
It really does.
The next bit of thing that I want to bring up, and it's an article that you should definitely check out if you haven't, and you all should if you didn't already read it. And it was an article that was done by CNET, and it was basically explaining in which Red Dead has too much hype.
I called that too, by the way.
I concur 100%. Having not read the article,
It's basically just talking about why it may not live up to the hype, why it may be already overhyped to a point of it's not even going to be able to do it. Just comparing about how, like, the first game was very iconic because the time, the technology, and everything, it was like a perfect storm. You had game technology getting to a point where things could actually be real, and you had storytelling getting to a point where you actually had good writers and, like, really good stories, and it was just coming into a great time. Like, GTA 4, like, the Ballad of Gay Tony is still one of, like, the best, like, story mode open world pieces revered.
yeah.
But, like, if that came out now, like, how much of it is rose-tinted glasses and how much of it is just... That was the first one that came out with great writing, great graphics, great gameplay. Everything felt good. Red Dead 1 was the same thing. So now with Red Dead 2, like, how much of it are you going to be like, oh, well, it's not as good as this game, and the story's not as good as that game, and...
I look at games a lot like movies. It's the curse of the sequel. Like, I mean, there are very few exceptions, obviously,
Yeah.
like the Godfather and I almost said Grandfather. And then you got your Halo series, which totally kind of lets you down after the second one. You know, like, it's not everything is better with sequels, so everybody's looking at this like, I want it to be just like the last one.
Yep.
But then you've got that curse of you're mad because it's just like the last one.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a hard spot. For me, it's just very interesting because, like, one, I think that I don't think it's going to fail. Now, granted, I also think that no matter what happens, it's not going to live up to the hype. It's almost pushing No Man's Sky territory of, like, it's on a pedestal. Everyone really wants this. Everyone wants this to be the best game of the fall. Everyone wants this to be the game of the year. And it's like, if this game isn't game of the year, it fails.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, to be honest, though, just even if it doesn't, or with just the hype that it has, even if it doesn't live up, it's still going to make the revenue to push for a third one that's probably going to be better. To at least stumble and make mistakes and then learn for the next one.
For me, it's much more like, no matter what, I think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Do I think it will be game of the year? I don't know. If it's not, I think it fails by all success metrics of what it's supposed to be.
I think it's interesting because if you look at Rockstar in general, their franchises, Grand Theft Auto, obviously the most successful one, the most famous one. If you look at the jump from 3 to Vice City to San Andreas, there was an upward curve there where a ton of people love San Andreas. Thought of it was the pinnacle. Vice City's remembered more often now as the hype, but San Andreas definitely was like, oh my god, I can make my dude fat.
I can eat burgers.
And then the 4th game came out, and I
things.
just remember the utter disappointment of everyone when 4 came out. It was just like, this is a good game, it's just not great.
Yep.
And then 5 came out, and it's the best-selling game. Was the highest-selling game on PlayStation 4 PSN this month of July. Like, the game still sells games.
Still killing.
Yep.
And that's what kills me about the game as well. Is like, you're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 beat The Last of Us. That's how good it was. And The Last of Us is my favorite game of all time. And at the time, I was working at Best Buy, and it was everyone there was like, oh, if I can buy one game this fall, what am I going to buy? You should buy Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
But you said you liked The Last of Us. Yeah, but if you're going to buy one game, buy that one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't disagree that this game's better, but
This game will last you 2 weeks. This game will last you like 8 months.
we'll still be talking about it in 2018.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're continuing to release updates every month to the online. There's still stuff going out. And so I do agree. I think that this game, being Red Dead Redemption 2 now, is way overhyped. We've only seen combined
6 minutes.
No, combined, because they released that newest trailer, which is 6 minutes.
Well, I was
Combined
saying gameplay
10 minutes total.
of gameplay.
Because you got to... cut scenes are involved. There's a story. Like,
So we're maybe 10 minutes in.
I say 10 minutes of the game has been seen, and everyone is automatically assuming this is going to be the biggest open world. There's going to be so much stuff to do. I'm like, you are
It's
way
just so
over
hype.
your bounds here.
Yep.
My issue,
Bound to crash. It's
Yeah.
just when everybody started getting really on this train and really starting to ride it. I'm like, oh my god, you're doing it. Stop. It's
Stop.
going to suck if you don't
My
stop.
issue
No,
is more.
that's Rockstar over there in the corner, like sweating bullets. Like, please stop! Don't.
No, they're not.
no,
They're like, how many microtransactions day one can we get, baby? No, for me, it's much more of like, just realistically looking at this year, like, it's going to have to beat Spider-Man, God of War, Monster Hunter, Detroit,
Yeah.
Call of Duty,
Yeah.
Smash,
Yeah.
Yep.
maybe Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of contenders.
That's a
this year.
lot of stuff. And if it doesn't,
Mario Party.
that's not real. And if it doesn't,
It is real.
and if it doesn't beat them all, for all intents and purposes, it's going to be considered a failure.
No, I agree 100%.
And it's like,
if
God,
of-
that sucks. I do not want to work at that studio.
Yeah.
If God of War comes out on top of this game, they're going to be looked down on.
Yeah.
And not in a negative connotation of like this is a bad game. It just will look
Yeah.
at people
To
look
me-
at it and go, this did not succeed the way it should have.
Yeah. To me, it's totally like Zelda versus Horizon last year.
Yeah.
Now, luckily,
Yeah.
Zelda was really good.
Mhm.
But it was more of like, hey, if that Horizon game comes out and poos on you, woo, that's not good.
Well, at the same time, I feel the same opposite wise. I mean, I don't want it to be a Mirror's Edge catalyst. I hope it's more like a Borderlands 2 where you grow with the game. Things are still you've got to find minute details that you love about the world, and then you expand on it.
I just hope it's
And-
not a GTA 5 cash cow. That's all I want. If it's not a GTA 5 cash cow and there's actually like single player DLC, I'll be happy. That's all I need.
I will say that the newest trailer has me more interested in the game than before. This tends to be a trend with me. Like they release new stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, this looks really cool. A buddy of ours played the first one. He struggled with the shooting mechanics, but enjoyed the world. So if I can go in and kind of enjoy the world and a story, I wouldn't mind dropping $60 for 20 hours even, and just say, all right, well, that's all I needed.
It's almost like people
if the
that-
shooting mechanics are the same, I'm going to throw the controller through a window.
It's almost like people at this table have like, I don't know, recommended you things that you just,
I don't think anybody at this table has ever recommended me anything.
oh, really? And not like you just jump on hate trains for no reason,
No,
right, John?
no,
He would never do that, would he?
Nah.
No, okay. But that is a section that we like to refer to as,
The Brent
The
hate
important
train.
shit.
I like John's more.
Train shit.
But yeah,
So I realize as we're going through this, there's not really a whole lot of smooth segues here. So I'm just going to jump around to the people that I feel should go in a specific order. Not because I like you more than another.
I'm gonna grab a chair now.
Jump up, and get down. So I think we're going to go to John first since you wanted to talk about this so badly. Tell us why you hate Bethesda.
I don't hate Bethesda.
You hate
Yes, you do.
Bethesda.
They're angered. You can be mad at someone and not hate them.
I know. You and I have that relationship.
we know that's a thing, but you still hate them.
Yeah, right now they definitely got me on the pissed off train, if that's a curse word of the theory. There's a individual who had bought a game from Bethesda, and
The Evil Within 2. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember the title.
I knew what it was. I just didn't really care to mention it because I don't want to give them any more credit than I need to. This is gonna be quick and dirty. If you buy a game
how we like it.
and it is brand new from GameStop, still has plastic wrapping on it, and you're like, you know what, dude, I don't really like my console anymore. I sold it, so I never even opened up the game. So I'm just gonna throw it online real quick, see if someone else wants it. They literally got involved with lawyers and said, you cannot sell this game as new. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell determines if a game is brand new or not? Yeah, it was owned by somebody, but if that thing is still in the holder, inside of the case, and is plastic wrapped, it was never been opened, I would call that mint condition, like any other freaking package. Would you not?
I would want to agree with you, and I really do want to agree with you here. But as a person who liked to skirt the fringes of legalities way back in the day on my eBay business, I used to buy things from a company, and this was a company in the paintball industry, and they basically had a thing of like, hey, if you sell our products new for this price or less, we will sue you. That's how it's going to work. So then what I would do, because I'm shifty and a wonderful human of society, is I had, this is well before the days of YouTube, I think it was, I don't remember what the name of the website was, but there was a website that you basically could go to and they had flash videos on it. So I made a flash video of me taking a knife and cutting open this box and being like, it's used. And I'd sell it for like like 10% less than the retail value. So mine just sold like crazy. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's basically new. And I was like, yeah, it's not new. I just want to be very clear. Not new. Used.
Well,
I just, the part that bothers me is that this is a $60 game. And I understand, like, I don't know who they thought they were going to lose money to. But if someone went online and was like, yeah, it's an impulse buy kind of thing, they're not going to this person and saying, I know that he's selling brand new games, not like everywhere else, including Amazon, GameStop, wherever I feel like going to shopping at has this game as well. But this individual who bought your game in good faith was like, you know what, dude, I just don't want it on this console, or for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. Like, why can't, it is brand new.
So I do want to clarify here that Bethesda is owned by ZeniMax Entertainment. ZeniMax Entertainment are the people who pay for that lawyer. So it wasn't Bethesda, it was ZeniMax.
That's
Everyone is arguing that it's Bethesda, and that bothers me.
They are owned by them.
They are owned by ZeniMax.
That's like if somebody were to sue somebody over
So the reason
Overwatch.
why I want to clarify is
I
because
want Bethesda to come out and say they don't agree.
Bethesda's policies don't always match with how ZeniMax handles things, but they have to curtail to their parent company
Because they're owned.
Fair point.
because they're owned by them.
But at the same time, I don't see them going, yeah, we really didn't care, guys. I mean, come on. But no, let's stick it to this one individual. So this is all I'm going to say about it. I'm not buying any more Bethesda games ever. So you can keep your $60 and shove it up your ass.
Bold move,
Have
Cotton.
fun.
It reminds me of the Napster days when people were getting hit. There was specific individuals who went and took music offline or whatever the case may be, had a friend who gave them a CD that was burned, and then they got hit with $10,000 fines.
Yeah.
It's to make an example of the individual.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this individual just, it wasn't like he was even making a profit off of it. That was my problem.
Got the
Well,
piping.
He still paid taxes on the thing.
Got the
But
piping.
Bethesda lost out on $60.
No, not
No.
necessarily, because that person, if it's still wrapped in plastic, never consumed the content.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he paid for that money. The person who bought from him
How-
could have gone and
Because
bought it
if
from
he
a
would've-
retailer
yeah, exactly.
in which
No,
Bethesda
but
would have
still,
been paid
again,
for it.
the thing that he bought, he never consumed. That's like saying I bought a
It
plate of
doesn't-
pasta,
it's
but you
not
wanted
him.
it, so
It's-
I gave it to you.
It's not him that matters. It's the other individual that matters. They can go buy the game brand new from a retailer in which Bethesda gets a cut from it.
Right,
That's
but
what
Bethesda
matters.
already got their cut.
No,
So
they
for
get-
somebody who didn't consume the content. So
Yeah,
the thing is
it's-
that the
If
point
I
is they
sold
don't-
that game hand to hand, no one would have known or given a.
You're right. You're right. But they still would have lost $60 because that person, if they didn't buy it from you, would have gone to GameStop and bought it there.
What if that person
That's
just
where
happened
they're
to not
making
be
the
on
money.
that site and they said, "Oh, randomly, hey,
Well, so
I'm
then
gonna buy it."
so then here's the other path anyway of doing exactly the same thing, but costing the other person more money. Basically, what that person should have done is purchase the game. It's wrapped in plastic. They should have returned it, and the other person should have bought the
Correct.
game.
Correct.
But the thing is, Bethesda then, instead of like having the $60, then has to go through a
Which-
different avenue of returning the money and then getting the $60.
You're right. But that's what they want. They're tired of used game sales. Every publisher is.
Right, but what I'm saying is like Bethesda already got their $60 for it.
That's not the point, though. The individual
second
who's buying
$2.
the game should not be buying it secondhand. They're trying to make a point to punish people for selling it secondhand, so people will not buy from secondhand individuals.
Just to point
I
out,
mean,
the whole
I get
DRM
that,
issue
but-
for Xbox is what created the show of what happened to Xbox to begin with. So, as a game company, if you're going to do the same DRM crap or punish people for just reselling something, no one's going to want to buy your product.
That's not true at all because DRM exists today as it is.
Yeah.
On
Like
Steam.
I have a
And it
PlayStation
hurt
game
Xbox.
that you can't play unless you play on my account or it's my PS4.
Yeah.
Steam, all of it is DRM. You have to have it
Yep.
locked to your account. You can share on Steam, but it's still locked to your
If
account.
I bring that disc to my house and play it on mine, it's not DRM.
That's the beauty of having the physical medium.
Yeah, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I understand the differences, but
Yeah.
my problem with it is this is that kind of crap is what's going to piss off consumers. Keep going, and it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more than $60.
I disagree. I don't think anybody's going to care because
Nope.
I don't care.
I did, and I
I-
just told everybody else they might care, and I hope everyone else
You've
cares enough
never-
not to buy that game.
You've never
that
bought
they
a
were thinking
Bethesda
about.
game in your life.
Nope, and I never will.
Then they don't
That's
care.
not true. I did. No.
Skyrim.
No, he hasn't
Oh
bought.
no! I played their games, but I haven't bought
The
them.
only one he might have bought before this would have been Wolfenstein or
Yeah.
Doom.
Yeah,
So
I don't even think I bought those.
I almost bought them on.
Eat it.
I almost
So
bought them on
I,
VR.
I
this
don't
weekend.
agree with this tactic. I'm
No.
not trying to justify for them. I understand.
I just think
where
it's
they're coming
petty as
from.
hell.
It absolutely is. It is 100% petty.
For me,
If the person was making a profit, you're right. That's wrong.
yeah, but see, my
they
issue,
didn't.
my issue is that that's how GameStop stays in business, and same
Yeah.
with Best Buy.
100%. But they're not. They're selling new stuff as
no, they're
any other individual.
They're
would.
selling used stuff, and that's why, like, if Bethesda was basically like, I know they would just be crucified for it. But if they were like, hey, don't sell our games, you second party. We don't want our games to be sold second party. We want first-hand experiences only. And while I think they would be crucified publicly for that, that would basically be like, hey, GameStop, we know you are destroying us. Get out of here. Because, I mean, for example, how much is Skyrim going to be at GameStop? $1.50? You going to go pay $20 for it, or you going to go pay $1.50 for the pre-owned
that's
section?
why they're trying to push digital media, and every year it's becoming more and more prevalent that physical media will eventually die.
Yeah.
And it is sad, but we as consumers are the cause of that destruction. So
Easiest way to push digital media for me, you give me a beta that I have to have the digital pre-order to get.
Call of Duty.
That's how you get me. Look at that.
It's one of those. I don't necessarily consider it shiesty. I don't think it's good business acumen, but I also don't think it's going to damage them whatsoever. I don't think enough people will care for this to become a thing.
no, I don't think that it will. It's going to be a lot of stories that are, I think, important, but will be pushed under a rug or easily forgotten. But I do want people to realize, like, you are the cause of your own destruction. Like, you allow this kind of stuff to happen without any kind of backlash, this kind of stuff is going to continue to happen. Digital media takes over. You're no longer going to have that physical copy to save your butt when you want to go over to your friend's house.
I don't know. There are interesting use cases where I do want physical medium. I still buy my games physically, pretty much consistently, unless it's not available.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you don't play PC. It gets you so fast.
but like when I think about watching a movie, like I don't bring physical movies over to your house to watch movies anymore. We just go and look for the best place to find it.
Either Amazon or Netflix or
whatever the case may
Pornhub.
be. And it's the same Pornhub. I mean, hey, they have some great flicks on there.
that Eevee Pikachu action.
I don't know if you get
It's the same with music. Like I think
you
it's a
furry?
scary thought process if you care about having that ownership mentality. But if you understand that that's not yours to own, that this is just something that you're renting and you're okay with that, then you're fine.
The problem is you're paying a pretty premium price just to rent, which is
For
my issue.
now, but just like with Xbox Game Pass, where we're watching with $10, you get all those games you're renting them.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's different. That is actually renting.
as the price structure shifts over, you're going to see that. It's the same with digital movies. Digital movies used to cost the same amount as they were on disc, and then the prices went down as people started consuming them more digitally.
Yeah, and
I
for
think
some
that when
dumb
you buy
reason-
a game, it should be saying, do you want to lease this game? You shouldn't be able to say, I want to buy this game. Because you're not. You're technically leasing it.
It does in your user agreement. You just got to read it.
No, I know. But when you're actually buying something, you're saying, I'm buying this. And it's like, you're really not.
I mean, you're
It's false
buying
advertising.
access to it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm buying the access.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's awesome.
It's just how
I hope everybody eats crap.
I mean,
Well, we are going to.
the problem is also you still consume digital content on the regular. You pre-ordered Detroit Become Human digitally. You still play PlayStation Plus games.
Yeah.
Like it's you're detracting from it, but also feeding it at the same time.
No, I know. I'm totally guilty. I mean, it's a part of
Price needs to go down.
just the game world in general. I mean, you're trying new stuff. You find out what you like. Unfortunately, some things have negative consequences.
Yeah.
Lower the price. Hashtag lower digital.
No, I agree with that entirely.
Yeah. Well,
Vita had it right, and I understand that there was complications, but every Vita game, when it first launched, you bought digitally, $5 less. And it's
I
just
think
$5.
is low, but continue.
What?
I said I think $5 is a little low, but continue.
well, a lot of those games weren't $60.
Yeah, you're $40 for a game.
makes
It's
sense.
$35. Like
That's a good value. That's like, what's that, 10%?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like 12% of the game. Like 12% of the game.
So I wanted them to continue that thought
Yeah.
process of like, hey, but the problem is GameStop and other retailers. Now, retailers are slowly losing out on that. We've already talked about previous shows how GameStop needs to figure out what they're doing. I mean, Amazon succeeds fairly well and Walmart does okay, but I think even Best Buy is changing up their gamers program because it's not working.
Yep. Let's talk about one of the shadiest things ever when I used to work at Best Buy back in the day. Sony used to make their years of PlayStation Plus was $49.99, right?
Yeah.
And they would theme the cards after all the new releases. And our PlayStation rep informed me very generally that the marketing team thought that was a good idea because it could be mistaken for a digital version of the game.
Wow.
And I was like, that's an interesting decision.
Now that's shiesty.
That's an
is
interesting
shiesty.
decision. That this
Just
Destiny,
that was the thought process is so messed up.
it's convenient, right? It's $10 off. People went back, oh, I'm saving money by getting this thing that in the bottom right-hand corner says PlayStation Plus.
I think what's super telling to me is that you put this story in our little docket. We get a little docket together for this show every week. That was the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
I
had to dig for it. It was a Twitter.
I frequent
was
on
a
the
tweet.
regular
It was a Twitter.
IGN, Game Informer, Kotaku, PlayStation, Silicon Era, and IO9.
No Polygon.
I don't. We talk about it off air. Yeah, that's fine. But I frequent those sites regularly. Today, cycled through them multiple times in my spare time.
He doesn't really work.
Nope.
No. So, Mark, you will probably understand this better than everyone. I have to build every time I make a change on my local, and it takes a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Guess
That's
what
a
I do in that
lot of
minute
reading
and a
in a
half?
minute and a half.
I cycle through all my websites. And Game Informer is the only site that had the story, and it was buried. I had to go to the bottom of their page to find it. So that speaks volumes as to what this is going to do.
And that's why, as a social justice warrior,
Shut your mouth.
What's worse
Drink
is
your beer.
I saw this on the Twitter, and I don't know if you retweeted it or something. That might have been why I saw
Did you
it.
just call it the Twitter?
The Twitter, yes. I think he retweeted something, and I saw it, and I clicked on it, and I was like, huh. I wonder if they're going to go after used games.
yeah,
That'd be neat.
I think
And
eventually
that was
they
it.
will.
That was the end of the thought.
They're gonna sit there and say, no, you can't resell this stuff, and that's where the DRM comes in. And Xbox tried it, and they paid for it.
I've actually seen where there's a really easy way to do this, and I don't know why companies just don't do it. But within the game, you just have like an access to the game, like enter a code.
Because that would,
Because
mean-
EA
you
did
mean
that
like
for a little
PC?
while, I think.
like PC used to do for years.
Yeah.
CD keys.
It's because they would get crucified. So I do think there's a
Red Dead does it, or will people stop buying the
Customer
game?
base won't like it, and then all of a sudden it would cause them to have a negative effect.
I think there's a big difference between me going, "Hey John, I don't like this game. Give me $20, it's yours," and someone going online and going, "I want the full $60 because I didn't play this game."
It's almost like every stupid console bundle
Yeah,
until
does it really?
Well, the
like, you see
difference
how
is
dirty that just sounds?
whether or not it's wrapped in plastic and it's and the content is consumed.
It's like someone selling a action figure for more than it's worth because it's still in mint condition. Should that toy maker get pissed off because they're selling it for more than they did?
I think it
if
would
it's
depend
a limited
on
quota, maybe.
whether it's
I
still
did-
out
the
there, and whether it
users
can be bought.
get
I think
pissed
that
off.
is a key factor because a
Because
lot of
those
those
users
things you're
sold for more than
discussing
they
Oh, he
are
should be happy.
typically sold
No, exactly.
after the fact when the manufacturer no longer makes them. That's why they're collectibles.
I hate my own topic right now.
Exactly.
Seriously, I mean, take that into account. A physical object was mint condition, and you resold it for more money, and here comes Hasbro whacking you with a glass bottle, going, "Nope."
Real quick, this is a question I don't know the answer to. Minecraft. When you get Minecraft, do you get a disc or do you get a code for
For what specifically?
Minecraft
on
when you buy it?
console, I guess.
I'm sorry. The Minecraft's on everything. So
No,
when
so-
you ask
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you get
no,
a
'cause
disc
back
for a
in-
Vita,
no, no, so
I mean,
back
on-
in-
no, you don't.
On PC, it's on your account. You sign in with your account, and then you can launch the game from there.
Yeah,
but, like,
and back in the day when you bought the Minecraft box in Best Buy or whatever, it was a piece of paper with a number that you typed into your new account on Mojang.
Dylan, how often have you heard me talk about playing Minecraft?
I'm just saying, I didn't know if you'd ever gotten it.
I just want to know why you're asking me this question.
I figured you maybe, I don't know, your
No.
brother liked it and you built a house
I've
one
only
time.
I've bought Minecraft once on PS4 digitally, and it gave me the Vita version digitally, and I played it on Vita. I bought it for Alex to play, and he never played it that weekend. That little
He played the crap out of that game.
No, not in my house. No, he played every other game except for Minecraft. I was like, "Hey, buddy, I got it so you can carry over your account." He's like, "Cool. Is that Little Big Planet Racing? Because I want to play that." I was like,
you got a second
so
one there, by
I
the
mean,
way.
well, we can go in circles.
Oh, all day.
I really am primarily being contrarian here. I do not like this approach at all. I understand why they're doing it, and I understand where they're coming from. Terrible.
Speak with your wallet.
Yeah,
buy
you're
secondhand.
100%.
right.
If you don't like secondhand games, don't buy them. I don't buy used games for that reason.
Nope.
Yeah.
I buy new games because I do
Because
want to
you're the one who
support the
makes them
developers.
secondhand.
To be fair, like
Yeah.
I mean, we've
a
bought,
relevant
we've
point,
had the
Mark.
option to share games and still have bought
That's
our
going
own
after
copies.
Best Buy.
Now, when we were a little bit more
Different
money tight, that was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Did it make it any less right? Probably not. But at the same time, it's not unethical to be able to go to your friend's house like we all used to. We grew up taking our game over to a friend's house and playing Mortal Kombat. or whatever.
I'm certain.
You're not wrong in so many ways.
I agree with you because video games are art, and art should be shared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a segue?
Is that movies too? Because
This
they
could
like
totally
to
be
sue
a
the crap
segue
out of
because
everyone.
my topic is what is an aspect of a piece of art, movies, music, video games, TV shows that you used to love or could endure with no problem and cannot stand today? And I'm going to go ahead and start because I think it's easier for me to kind of lead the way here. I'm a very big JRPG fan, have been for a very long time. They were the first video games that really got me into actually gaming. And one of my favorite things used to be putting on a CD and just grinding for hours, powering up my party, running in circles, beating the same enemies over and over again. It did not matter what was going on in the world. I just wanted to make myself I just want to make myself super powerful. I cannot stand grinding today. It is one of the most infuriating things to have to do. Octopath Traveler is a game I'm playing. Octopath is a game I'm playing right now that drives me up the wall because every character has a chapter 1 that's like, be at level like 10 or 11. And then in chapter 2 is be at level 24, 25. I'm like, one of my characters is there. The rest of them are going to die. So I have to grind for 5 hours. Why are you arbitrarily increasing this distance? You're making this difficult on me.
Real quick, Octopath Traveler, 1 out of 10, go.
I'm only 12 hours in. I've gotten every character, so I've beaten their first chapter. It's a 7 right now.
I've heard almost unanimously that the reason that Dead Cells has taken over the media is because Octopath Travel did not hold said ball that it had in its hand.
I agree. I think that it falters for 2 reasons. One, the grinding I'm talking about, because it does require you to grind in between these story segments, so you can't just burn through the narrative. 2, each story segment is completely separated rather than being an intricate narrative woven together. Story. So that totally took it away from me because I thought it was going to be really interesting to watch how these characters come together. And instead, it's like, hey, my dad died and I want to go and avenge him. Can you come help me? And then a cutscene happens and then you disappear and then I go avenge my dad and then you come back and I'm like, yay, that was great. Hey, you need to go find your friend? Let's go find your friend. Like it's terribly written in that instance, unfortunately.
That's interesting.
But I tee it up to you guys. What is something that you can't stand anymore?
Side quests.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting tired of the stupid side quests. What was that game that we were playing that we were just... Gravity Rush 2 is a huge instance of this. Side quests have a function. It usually gives you objects or items that help you progress in the game or power you up or what have you. And usually they involve things that happen in the game that are interesting. Gives you more lore or whatever.
Builds the world up.
Yeah, no. Instead, games like, Gravity Rush 2 saying, let's have the dumbest dialogue that you can possibly read, having the most silly things going on that it's like you have so much in this world to do that you can do, that you could expand on, and instead we're going to do these retarded things.
See, I think you're lying to yourself.
What?
I think you're lying to yourself. It's not side quests that you hate. It's the current side quests you hate. I do think side quests, like for example, Borderlands 1, I don't think Borderlands 1 had good side quests. I think Borderlands 1's story was not great, and the side quests were equally okay. So it's like, cool, side quests are as good as the story. This is great.
Yeah.
And then we started getting good story games like, hey, these side quests kind of suck. That story's real good. We're going to go do that story thing. Yeah. I don't want to do these side quests anymore. Yeah. And then there's very few times, like, I think Horizon's probably the last one where it's like, I want to do the side quests. Like, I need to know this stuff. But that was another one where it's like, hey, this story's really good. These side quests are really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, as long as it matches with everything and it adds to something in the game, it's fine. But having side quests just for the sake of side quests, come up with a different way to progress your game.
Yeah, it's really interesting you bring that up specifically because, as you know, I recently platinum Infamous 2. Thank you, everybody.
God rest your soul. 10 years late.
And so I went back.
I don't like the grind.
I went back. It wasn't a grind. That was the best part about it.
Yeah, I know.
I went back, and in that game, side quests last about 3 minutes. You walk up to someone, they're like, help, someone stole my kid. I need a package delivered. There are bad guys over there. And you go and do the thing, and it's done, and you get experience. And it is one of those oddly satisfying, but also kind of annoying. I'm like, this does nothing for this world whatsoever.
It reminds me of the Tony Hawk stuff where you would do things and you get experience. You're like,
I received 100 experience, which in that world is not a lot whatsoever. Why am I doing this?
That's why I think, like, the Borderlands one, like, I just adored those side quests because it's like, you're talking to this little girl named Tiny Tina who likes to blow stuff up, and she's like, I'll give you a gun if you kill this guy. You're like, all right, I want a gun. That's cool. I'll see what that's about. For me, it is super easy. There's a lot of things that, especially when it comes to content and whatnot, and it all revolves around the same logic, but technology just as convenient as it make things, I hate it. Like comics are the biggest thing for me. When I was a kid, like my uncle would always tell me like, "Hey, you should read this or you should read this." And then by the time I got to like high school and especially college as well, I would go to comic book stores and be like, "Oh, cool, what's coming out? Like, what's big? What's happening? Whatever." I'd go to comic book conventions to learn about comics. I didn't really use the internet or any of that stuff for it because I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll just go ask the guy there. He obviously knows, whatever." And then I started using this app called Comixology, and that's pretty much the end because I was like, "Wow, this is real easy." Subscribe to this, subscribe to that, and then now it's like, cool, I get an alert if something comes out. Oh, purchase? Well, I'm going to read it later. And that's pretty much how it goes. So now it's like, I'll all the time be like messaging my uncle and be like, hey, man, what should I read? He's like, I don't know. I just doing my stuff. And I was like, that's what I'm doing. I just get an alert, and then now that I've read everything, I'm just sitting here like, what can I read? And I got to Google stuff, and it's worse that I'm like, oh, I can just Google what's the best comic book to read instead of like, just going to a comic book store and being like, hey, man, what's good?
Scott Snyder and Tom King's Batman runs. There you go.
I do need to read the new Batmans. I've been there. I really want to read the new Mecha thing, too.
Do you think you would like manga? I know it's a different world.
The right one. We'll talk about that. We'll find one.
I've tried to read some, and it's just, the one that I did read was black and white. It wasn't colored.
Almost all of them are.
That's a thing.
Oh, man.
Just crushed all of his dreams right there.
He's like,
no, he can't read manga.
I read it, I was like, this is cool, but like, it'd be cool with some color.
They turn theirs out every week, and so coloration's just not going to happen.
No, it's vector based in a computer. Just click the paint bucket.
It's not how that works. It is not how that
hand
works.
drawn, baby.
How do they get it in there? You got to scan on a computer somehow to print that thing.
Yeah, but it's not like they just click a button and they get the color in there. Someone's a professional inker. They come in with their little stylus.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't have to be as good as like a regular comic. It can be basic. Your face is tan. Your shirt's red.
What manga really is, it's made for people who are on a budget and ink costs money. So it's helped to say, okay, this thing that would normally be $15 is now only going to be like $12.
Unless you're Ichiro Oda and you fucking run One Piece and make $3 million a year.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not to sound like an uppity snob here,
yeah.
but
Yeah, okay.
are there mangas that come with color?
I mean, yes, but they're usually only like the first page.
Man, that's it for me. I mean, there's also like, same thing with movies and whatnot. Like, obviously, you guys watch 1,000,001 more movies than me. But when I was a kid, it was much cooler just being like, I remember when the Mist came out, and it was like everyone at my school talked about that for like 2 months to the point where I was like, all right, I've got to see this stupid movie so that I know what these people are talking about. Oh my god. Well, it was just cool to like now it's like people are like, oh, I'll go watch a review of it, or I'll just go watch the trailer, and it's just like that's as far as you get. Yeah. Like, oh, it's review didn't seem like it's for me. Whereas like back then I was like, I don't even know what the stupid Mist movie's about. I'm gonna go watch this dumb thing, and I'm gonna be afraid every morning for the next 6 weeks.
For movies, I feel like late 80s to like late 90s, trailers were terrible because they told the story of the movie. Like you watch the trailer, it was like, in a world where this girl and this guy fight a dragon and he wins and they fall in love. You're like, what? Why did you just tell me what happened?
Why did I waste 90 minutes?
And I've just watched the movie.
It's about the journey, not what happened.
And then in like 98, 99 to about 2008, they were like, we're just going to make everything really mysterious. You're never going to know. And now it's just backfired. They're like, we're going to tell you the whole movie again.
Well, for me, like, and what's worse is, like, I do it to myself, and that's the worst part of, like, I know mentally, like, I could go to comic book store and I could talk to them, but I don't.
Self-control.
Yeah. I mean, like, for reviews, like, I listen to this podcast called the Double Toasted Podcast.
I've never heard that. What is it called?
Double Toasted.
It's
you get this
like
toasty goodness all over your body. It's fantastic. Those guys are amazing because I usually try not to watch trailers until I watch their trailer review or if they've already watched the movie. Because a lot of times, like, when they review movies...
What?
He was trying to sneeze or cover it up. He went, click.
It's pretty terrible.
Sorry, Dylan.
But a lot of their reviews and whatnot, they'll just be like, yeah, if you watch the trailers for this movie, you don't even go watch it. Because the trailer tells you exactly what happens. Like, whatever that new scary movie is where it's like the people will get the laptop and they can see each other, whatever.
Oh, the befriending thing?
Yeah, whatever. Unfriending or whatever.
Shadow people.
Yeah, he basically, like, reviews. They review that, and his review is legitimately like, did you watch the trailer? Yeah. Don't watch it. You saw the whole movie. Every key moment in the movie and the trailers. Don't watch it. And it's like, all right.
But who was the killer?
I don't know, the guy who won the laptop.
Okay.
That could have been the Kerpa. I don't know. But it was one of those things where it's like I watch all these reviews now, and it's like because I don't want to make a bad decision, I don't want to go see a turd.
Yeah.
But then by then it's like, oh well, I already know what what's gonna happen in the movie. So, well, I don't even need to go watch it
It'd
now.
be funny to see like the Red Band trailer. He closes the laptop, smacks you in the face, unfriended. I don't know why he
In that
sounds so
tone,
dumb.
unfriended.
Well, it's just the movie sounded stupid. The premise sounded stupid.
I love you, John. Mark, what's your little pet
So-
peeve?
I've been a little spoiled, I guess, with games and things like that lately. But lower fidelity games actually don't interest me anymore. Yeah, like
I'm
no.
leaving.
So I'm gonna be honest. Octopath Traveler, like even seeing the 2D like in a 3D space sort of design.
That's not even an ugly game.
Thank you.
No, I know. But to me, that I just don't have an interest in it. Terraria lost interest almost immediately.
At least I get that. That looks old. Octopath Traveler doesn't even look old. What's it? Dragon's Crown.
Yeah.
That's another one. It's like, I mean, it's that same like art style. And then granted, you do have that weird mage chick just woo 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 woo.
You also have the Amazons. Woo, woo, woo. And yeah.
A lot of wooing.
They got in trouble.
Yeah. But I don't know
Why?
what it is. Maybe I've just been spoiled between watching everybody play God of War or
Lip slip.
playing. Well, I mean, even like Battlefield, the fidelity on Battlefield's gotten so much better over time. Playing Call of Duty, the fidelity on Call of Duty's arguably better, but
No, I was just laughing because I watched they did a comparison of the Red Dead 1 trailer to the Red Dead
Yeah.
2 trailer.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, I was like, dude, Red Dead 1 looks so good.
Yeah.
That game looks great for being 10. My God.
Not wrong.
I did the same thing with Infamous, where I was like, man, this game is like 7 or 8 years old. This game is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is
But
like
see-
the movement we talked about was definitely dated.
yeah. But then even then, I look at Grand Theft Auto San Andreas versus like Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely looks like it's from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Plays
got
like
a charm, baby.
Plays
It's
like
got
a
a
champ.
charm.
I mean, there's
No,
nothing wrong.
but-
I understand where you're coming from because I've used to love a lot of these older games. Like certain games like Mario will transcend time.
So, see, there's just certain distractions that'll bring me back
anarchist.
to other games. Okay, first off, Overwatch, like I just started playing recently, which arguably does have some high fidelity features to it, but is a rather simple game to run. It's pretty simple textures and things
Blizzard
like
does
that.
a great
It's-
job of making Hines games run like turds. Like they can run on a toaster.
Yeah. Well, but
Diablo 3 is a great example of that. I'm going to be right back.
Will you, though?
I guess you'll find out.
See, I think I think for me on that graphic fidelity note, there are times when like John just said, the most cardinal sin for me ever, and that is that some of those games you adore, like there is never Mario was your example. There is never a time when I would choose the original Mario Kart over any one that's newer than the first one.
Yeah, I can see why. Except for Mario 64.
What? There's no what? Not even that. The original Mario Kart.
That's sad. I still play it.
Why?
I mean, like, I haven't in a while, but I mean, if someone was to be like, hey, I threw,
Like 10
I threw
years.
the console on the table. Like, we had a retro game party where we were playing old, like, we brought out the Super Nintendo that was still somehow freaking works.
Do you trade your phone for a pager once a year?
I wish I could break my phone sometimes,
I mean,
as
I
much
wish I
as it rings.
Yeah, I agree.
But, no, I mean, there's something about technology going back that, you know, we're the nostalgic generation. So going back sometimes brings you back to your roots, but I totally agree. Like, if I have a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, I want to play that because the graphic fidelity is there, the storytelling is there, the gameplay mechanics are there.
For me, the nostalgia would be the distracting factor anyway that would bring me back to play a game like that.
Sometimes it makes you hate a game that you love.
Well, for me,
But see, that's the thing. Like for me, I always kind of look for the next branch of technology, the next thing that looks good. Okay, like if I compared like the old Rocket League to the new Rocket League, there's no way I'd go back to what the old one looked like.
well, yeah, I mean, I think to me, there's very few scenarios of things like one again. Like I started playing games when we first started hanging out.
Yep.
But like God of War and Uncharted both were two series that I did not play new. I played the remastered versions of them, and then like Uncharted I actually played like the original copies of the old games. But like because I wanted to know that story, rose tinted glasses. I don't care what you say. The first two Uncharted games and the first couple God of Wars, not great games. At
Pretty
their
rough.
time, probably phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like playing them 5 or 6 years later, whoo!
I disagree because that's how I play God of War and the Uncharted games.
Yeah, the first
And you
Uncharted
enjoyed
was
both of them greatly.
Yeah. So I didn't play Drake's Fortune. I played 2 and 3, and I played the entirety of God of War.
I just on the God of War because I was confident that you'd played that one, and you probably remember this. The boat. When you're on the boat, you can't tell me that's not one of the worst experiences.
It was
It's not fun.
Oh my heavens!
It was fun. I really enjoy arcadey action slashers like that.
You're gonna be a great father one day.
I know. I have patience.
You do, and that's a virtue for sure.
What difficulty were you playing on?
I guess regular. I don't know.
Okay, but say normal. I think it's fine. The pillars are more annoying than anything else in the original God of War. At the very end.
Oh, to me, the ships at the beginning is why I said that.
Yeah, no.
That's one of the first things I get. And it's like one of the first things I was like, this is one of the greatest franchises ever. And I would start playing. I was like, what the fuck is this?
So quick segue. That game came in that portion is the demo for the original God of War that came in the PlayStation magazine. And so I popped in my PS2 and I was like, oh, everyone's talking about how great the game this is. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I was like, forget this game. I'm done. I threw the disc away. 5.5 years later, it came back. I was like, I'm a skilled gamer now. I can handle this. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is fun.
I think on that demo, I got stuck
I can imagine.
because I didn't know what to do. I was that young into my gaming hood, but it was just like I was also Nintendo, so playing on that PlayStation was weird.
Yeah, but you were making a point earlier. I wanted to get back to.
No, he wasn't.
Well,
I'm making a different
we
point
were talking about graphic fidelity to begin with. So, I mean, going back with rose-tinted glasses, it's sometimes sad because what?
He was trying to say something, Dylan, and he just emailed right over.
Well, I was trying to remind him because he was gone.
Actually, I have heard everyone here say this now, and for the love of me, I cannot figure out what that means. Rose-tinted glasses.
Looking back at something with fondly.
Fine. How about a filter? Rose-tinted filter.
It's so fondly that you see over its flaws.
It's basically like, oh my god, the Prelude was such a great car. Then it's like you flash back to like 6 years ago. You're like, God, it's like the piece of shit.
Okay, all right. That would be the difference from when I bought it to when I sold it.
You remember when you used to like Natty Light and it was the best beer in the world?
No, never.
Well, I mean, I used to drink what was it, Steel Reserve.
Yeah.
I used to like Steel Reserve. Nowadays, there's no way I can go back.
I don't even know what that is, and I don't think I want to know.
I out-chugged people with Steel Reserve while they were drinking Bud Light.
Is water, basically. Is what I'm learning from this.
No, it is not.
It's the opposite one.
It's not water. What I find interesting is, and this is something that sounded like you're trying to touch on, is the fidelity issue is such a factor here for you that it prevents you from playing a good game even though it's old.
Probably. I mean, like I said, there are some distracting factors that usually bring me back to a particular game, like whether it's a game mechanic I like or if it's the nostalgia, even being the distracting factor. Like I have no problem going back to play like the old, like the like OG Mario games, or even like playing Super Mario or something like that, because I enjoyed those very thoroughly. But I feel like the only reason I'd go back to enjoy them now is nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it is. I was trying to think of games that I could lure you into that are modern, and the first thing that came to mind was Stardew Valley, and I was like, I ain't got no chance. No chance.
But and that's the thing. It's.
Did you go back and play Harvest Moon? No, probably not.
It's interesting that you use fidelity as that term, because I do feel like graphically, Octopath. What's another one we named here?
Dragon's Crown, that style.
Dragon's Crown, like those games, fidelity-wise, are here. Like you buy Dragon's Crown Pro on
even
PC,
I think Persona's
it's at 60 frames a second.
Persona's another good example. Persona is a unique art style.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's obviously not like God of War, but like, I mean, it's a PS4 game with PS4 graphics.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Or
like God of
Telltale
War.
Games graphics.
I think it is an art style that you're specifically talking about.
Right. I mean, maybe it's the well, yeah, I understand that having a pixelated art style is the art style, but to be honest, some of that is kind of a deterring factor for me to some extent. It's not. Maybe I'm just sort of the generic, like AAA gamer, but like that's what I prefer.
Pamples.
No, I think it's completely fine.
I need to see all the sweat.
The eye blinking.
No. This is why I love games, is because there's a game out there for everyone. I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you are having a specific thing that's cool for you and that you can't get past them, that's fine.
Oh man, going back and playing some Mega Mans. Oh my god, that is a trip.
See, to me, it's more of the reason I dislike a lot of older games is because they just don't play well. And I understand it was limitations of time, and I have no disagreement that when you had 2 buttons and 4 directions, that you obviously were a little limited in your scope. But now we have like DualShock 4s, and they're really nice, man. They can do a whole lot.
I ran into this recently because I completed Infamous, and then I have it set up in my office so that like if I'm working late at night and I'm just waiting for people to reply to me or something, I can just hop on it.
When I'm working, I just play video games.
When you're waiting,
He does a
90
lot
seconds
of
for a
game
build.
related
When I'm
stuff.
waiting 90 seconds for a build, I popped in Beyond Good and Evil because we all saw the E3 trailer and we were all pretty hyped on it. And I was like, cool, I really want to know what this world is, what the story is. I probably played for an hour and a half over a weekend, and that is a great example of, wow, this controls archaically to the point where I get it. I understand why people liked it for the time. I am done. I'm not going to pursue this any further.
What's interesting to me is when I was a kid, I remember when the PlayStation started shifting to the dual stick platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
With especially moving and aiming and whatnot. And I guess because we were just spry little kids and we're like, oh, we're going to figure this out no matter how terrible it is. My Uncle Keith, he was like, he's a big gamer, but like he obviously played on like the Genesis and all the old stuff. So he just could never figure out the twin stick things. And I remember whatever James Bond came out on the PS2. That was like when I passed him in gaming. Like, he couldn't beat me at that game, right? And he's like, I just can't do the sticks. I can't do the sticks. And then flash forward like 4 or 5 years, now he's totally fine with sticks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, I don't understand what we get. He's like, dude, those games back then sucked. Let's go play James Bond. And I was like, all right, whatever. And we play it, and like, I'm very good at shooters. And I was just like, oh my, this is the worst. Holy crap, I was a determined 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow, this is bad.
I think a big part actually back then when we were still trying to figure out the whole dual stick thing, for some reason it was like left stick was always backwards and forward, and then it was like rotate left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't
It's
couldn't
like,
do that.
It's
now.
like
No
airplane
way.
stuff. It's like pitch and yaw, and your
Yeah.
players move, and you're like, no.
I listen to a lot of gaming podcasts that have like question blocks or whatever for people to write in, and I have heard so many times about people who played Nintendo, early PlayStation, and then moved to the dual joysticks, couldn't do it, dropped it, came back 10 years later, in it no problem.
Yep.
So I
went back and played Perfect Dark. I had to stop.
Yeah.
My head hurt. I couldn't believe
I
I
don't even know
even
what that
finished
is.
that game.
I don't even know what that
It
is.
was a game that like started out where
baby.
you were like in a building. You were kind of like James Bond. It was in the same time with 007.
You're Jonah Dark, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's actually Joanna, but that's fine.
Okay. And then it ends up being like it's like aliens get involved. I don't even remember half of the story, to be honest. But
Rare created their sequel, quote unquote, to GoldenEye with worse multiplayer, and it was Perfect Dark.
yeah,
okay.
And like 007's multiplayer was iconic to me. To play it now would be ridiculous.
Yep.
It is hard to watch.
I do also
I watched a Let's Play of it because I was curious, and I was like, no, I can't do this.
I do also want to note on this topic. I think this topic is very interesting. For me, I chose what was my biggest one earlier, and it was very odd to me that none of you three I thought for certain would choose music, full CDs versus single songs.
I still buy full CDs, like
Yeah.
because digitally that's still a thing.
Yeah.
So even if there are songs I don't like on there, it's just a habit.
To me, like on Spotify, and granted, I only buy certain artists, and I just really like to support certain artists. But like no matter what, like if it's like Drake's new CD comes out, like I just I favorite the CD and I listen to it front to back like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, cool, I like it, or cool, I like these 3 songs, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just always listen to CDs front and back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I
That's
still
just-
do that.
Yeah, I actually like the new Linkin Park CD.
Yep.
I throw that in my work van. It's great. I just get tired of listening to things.
See, I only do that occasionally though. Like there's certain CDs or certain albums that'll come out from people that I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to that front to back, and then I'll pick out the songs that I like and throw them in a playlist, and then I'll continue to listen to those for the rest of the time and forget about the others. But
I'll go back and listen to CDs a good amount, just because like to me it's like I guess part of it's a point in time, and part of it's like even if I don't like it, like I'll go back and listen to like Red Hot Chili Californication.
Yeah.
Like I only like 4 or 5 songs off that. Like the whole thing, like even the bad songs, you're like, yeah, this is good,
I
man.
remember the time where I bought
Nostalgia.
a non-skipping CD player. I thought it was the coolest freaking thing in the world.
Yeah.
Because I used to ride my bike and do a paper route, so
And
that
it
was
was
kind of a
skip
pain.
layer, yeah.
I had my little hoodie. I had the wires like going through all the holes in the hoodie so it would keep it still.
having a hoodie specifically for your headphones.
Correct.
We take a little knife and you cut the hole in the back so you can put the earphones in.
Yep.
That sounds like the kind of thing you had to do.
I did.
I don't build a whole lot of playlists. I either I use Amazon Music a lot or Google Play Music, and I go to like the entirety of all my songs, shuffle them all, or I listen to an album. There's never like
Yeah.
an in between for me.
I'm very much the same way. I'm like, I feel like listening to you, and then shuffle between all their discography.
Yep.
Oh,
Perfect.
you guys are crazy. Wow, we live different lives.
I did want to add one more thing to this topic because it was one that I wanted to say originally.
Uno mas.
I no longer enjoy 23 episode seasons of television shows that are an hour long. It's too much time. You don't have that much story or character development to
I
fill
promise
that
you
in.
right now, if Game of Thrones did that for its final season, you'd
I
throw
would not
confetti.
be happy. I'd be terrible. You know why?
Throw confetti
Because I
everywhere.
think their last season they squandered half the time they had in it. I don't think they need to waste any more time.
Yeah.
So many people are like, it's only 6 episodes. I'm like, thank God. They're going to wrap this up and we'll be ready to go.
And my issue with that is much more. I just feel like those writers are like, it's just a filler season. Just talk about stuff, guys. We'll kill Littlefinger or
To
something.
be fair, that's how I felt about How I Met Your Mother, and each episode was only about like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you watched it front to back 6 times, probably.
3.
God Almighty, that's like months
It's a very
of your
specific
life.
number that you know off the top of your head.
Yep.
3 for Dale. Praise the Dale, raise the hill.
I don't know what that was.
I don't either.
You're
Dale
not-
Earnhardt.
You're not from the South, boy.
Got it.
Nope.
So art is culture.
California.
It is culture.
And I think we all know that there are some cultures that we can agree with and some that we cannot.
Some you just have to
My
plug.
culture's apparently been outcast.
Dylan, you seem to have some problem with a specific culture on the internet.
I do, and apparently some people at the table think you can just plug it. But that culture, that culture is leak culture, and it's somewhat prevalent because the Note 9 released last week. The the Google Pixel 3 will be releasing soon. The Apple, really the only thing we don't know is what its name's going to be. The Apple iPhone's coming out this fall as well. But we basically have known what all of these phones are going to do and everything about them for 6 months. And I feel like even with most games and most technology now, like, there's basically never a time when a technology is announced and you don't know about it. It is so rare to just be blindsided or surprised by something. And that's why, like, I think Fallout 4 was probably the last one where, like, even though we had an idea, we weren't certain. That's probably the last time I've been genuinely like, that's cool. I wasn't fully expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have been certain, but there were plenty of people who were.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that was one where it was like, at least it wasn't like super leaked to the point of like, oh, this Canadian Walmart released 8 of the games coming out this fall.
Okay, I hear that.
I just think that a lot of these leaks are purposeful. I really do. I think it's a way to gauge how the community is looking at things and being like, oh, how do they feel about this right now? Everybody's hating on it right now, and they think that it's retarded. We should probably shift gears.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, for example, like, I remember seeing the first trailer for Destiny, and it just coming out and it being like, cool, this is like Bungie's new project. This is unique. This is like a shooter and an MMO, and I don't know what this is, and this is crazy, and it's going to be a 10-year game, and it's like to me, the hype around that was super big, but, like, now it's like that stuff just doesn't happen. And if, like, for example, we already know about Elder Scrolls 6 and Halo Infinite, and they might not come out on the system at all.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is at all.
No, that hands down no.
And I feel certain they had to do that because, I feel partially because they had to do that because they didn't want to be referred to as Half-Life 3. But also because it would have gotten leaked 100%. There's no way they could have survived without people knowing.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be that instance of like, yeah, there's something going on that has that mystic to it. You can control certain things with PR, and I do believe, hands down, that no one knows anything that's coming out until they want you to. Unless there is like, I feel like when I hear stuff, I know true leaks. I understand what a real leak is.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, for example, like Call of Duty right now. Like, I already can tell you so much about Call of Duty Blackout, and they don't want you to know it. And that's just because people, devs or QAs or whoever working for that studio, talk to their friend or their neighbor or their husband or their wife or whatever, then they talk to somebody, and guess what? Now I know about it because Reddit knows about it.
I also think there's big money, though, in leaks like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I imagine there's probably some developer somewhere that gets offered money by, let's be honest, like GameSpot or IGN or some big company somewhere that goes, hey, we really want information about this because we're going to make a lot of money off the fact that, we can post an article about this, that this was a confirmed leak. And, they'll pay somebody off to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe that's a tinfoil hat theory, but
no, not necessarily. I think there's. I mean, people pay people for videos and.
Oh no, I know that,
TMZ.
but
Yeah, baby.
But the idea is that it's a lot. Usually, it's kept under wraps. Like they're usually really good about releasing an article and saying we got from a confirmed source. And I can't imagine the game developer doesn't go, all right, who was the confirmed source?
Yeah.
Somewhere around their office, and start analyzing everything that their employees do.
I just want to say, I saw Sean Spicer on TMZ.
He's doing a book tour.
I don't care. Wow.
Yeah.
Sean Spicer.
Like, you must
Used to be
have
the press
no
secretary for the
respect for
president.
yourself
Okay.
whatsoever. No shame.
I just find it very interesting because to me, it's like, it's just like I hope no one under the age of 7 is watching this. It's just like if you're a kid and when you find out Santa's not real and like Christmas kind of sucks afterwards, right?
I didn't find out about Santa until I was 12.
I was
Really?
wondering where you were going with that.
But to me, it's like a very same thing of like, I feel like when we were kids, like you were real excited for Santa. Like that's a big deal, right? And then when you figured out it wasn't real, like you're like, I don't care as much. That's to me how like
I'll be
almost
honest.
everything is.
My mom still goes, if you believe, he will come, and I just get extra presents. You know.
I think your problem is that you sit on Twitter for too much. I responded to a tweet yesterday and put my phone down and then went dink and I looked at it and Dylan liked my tweet. I was like, what are you doing?
No, it is because you liked something that is. I have like alerts. So like if say John likes something that like say 2,000 people that I follow or interact with have talked about and he likes it, then I'll be like, ding, 2,000 people have talked about this thing. It was just posted. And I'm like, what is this? It's that way so I know about when pre-orders and big stuff comes out.
Oh,
But it's always
He's lying. He
freaking
just
leaks
watches
because
Twitter all
like now because I follow most of the COD community and COD competitive and stuff like that, it all the time like Nuketown's in the middle of the blackout map. I'm like, that would have been amazing to find out like in a trailer.
turn your alerts off.
I can't live
You
that
are
life.
doing this
I
to
can't live that life.
yourself.
I can't live that life.
I didn't know about Nuketown until you just told me. Thanks a lot.
Now your
You're
heart's
the leaker.
now your heart's just
Plug it.
But it's more of like I super love theories, and that's where like Game of Thrones, like I am afraid to go to my theory resources.
Oh, you should be.
Because like I know that this is done filming. That somebody's probably already leaked the whole script.
Yep.
If not, an actor got drunk at a bar and told everyone what happens. So it's like now it's like, oh, if I go to Brent the theorist and Brent already knows the result, like I think this is gonna happen. It's like, oh, that's really 100% accurate. Neat.
Correct.
Because like the last 2 Game of Thrones seasons have been leaked in their entirety, haven't they? I'm talking like episodes and
scripts
all
got released,
for
yeah.
scripts.
One time the
Not
season was
necessarily
completely.
its
Yeah, I thought like
entirety, but
HBO
enough.
like accidentally like posted it in French or something.
There's been a couple of bad leaks, but arguably you have to look out those resources. It's not like
Dog, it is not like if you could just go on the Twitters or if you go on to the news sites.
if you know you want something, don't do it.
It's like someone's. It was the Avengers movie, and they were like, "Oh, I love spoilers. I like this spoiler, this spoiler. Oh, by the way, Tony Stark dies," and I'm like, "You son of a gun!" You know, like, obviously, that's not really true, but at the same time, like,
Or is it? Because some people haven't seen the movie, they don't know.
Tony Stark didn't die in that one yet. We
Spoiler.
don't know yet.
Maybe he's in the other universe.
Now it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
Now
know
you're the
because
leaker.
plug it.
Plug it.
I mean, I do agree that to an extent, like you see it, but to me, it is just annoying how much that stuff travels. Because IGN covered the blackout thing.
You're right. You're right. I think the problem right
course
here
they did.
is that
know that-
it is subjective to the definition of what you consider a leak.
Yeah.
You don't want any information at all on Call of Duty Blackout at this
Well,
point.
they're like I'm cool if Call of Duty, like what you want to tell me, tell me. I'm
Yeah.
totally down with that. Like, if Call of Duty, like they put that teaser at the end of the trailer, cool. Let people break that down. Let people be like, oh, in this one frame, I saw this building that looks like it's in the 3rd Call of Duty. This map right here. It's like that stuff's cool. I'm totally down with that. But then when it's like somebody's like, my friend, he said that the middle of the map's Nuketown and this, and this, and you're like, they didn't want us to know that for a reason.
You're
But-
just talking about official release information.
But
then,
his friend could be a liar. Like
Yeah.
it's not
No,
technically
yeah.
a leak
See,
because
the-
you don't know if it's true.
See,
Well, IGN covered
one,
it, you said.
apparently the resource that did this, I think is he has been very accurate for all Treyarch games before.
He's got a best friend.
Hey, he's got a real good friend, but it's also like there's one guy who works in, I'm going to assume, a factory in China that makes Samsung and Apple and Huawei devices. Because
That
it's
hurts.
the same dude,
hurts so
and he
much.
always will post stuff like, "Hey, these are the new dimensions of this new phone." Always right. Hey, this always right. So it's like then when he posts it, like people are like, "Oh, here's live mock-ups of the Google Pixel 3," and you're like, "I'm glad that home dude is making it now. Cool."
I don't see a solution for you unless you guard yourself. Like because you have to pick and choose for one. You can't be mad about every
We
leak.
need Facebook and Twitter to unite.
To do what?
To strike the smiters.
But you're
That
not.
are the
Smite me,
leakers.
almighty Smite.
How do
They're
they
the
know?
leakers.
They're not going to know every single time.
I just
And all that's going to generate is people going, "Let me just create a new username."
I hate Reddit so much, okay? I just hate the interface of Reddit. I think it looks like
I agree with
butthole.
that. Yeah.
The content, sure, cool, whatever. It's just never been a site that I've been a big fan
I mean,
of.
the
Right?
content's not always great. Come on, let's be
Yeah, the
honest.
content could totally be wrong, and that's
there's
my
a lot
other.
of content that's really great. I mean,
I know.
honestly, have you ever
I
been
mean-
on 50/50?
Okay, that's a terrifying. But in general, the content's like it's not curated. I mean, it's curated to an extent, but like you could go on there and be like, hey, Trump died today, and
You heard it here first, folks.
please, I hope not.
Jesus.
But either way, so Reddit isn't like always factual. It's almost like Wikipedia. It's mostly right, and
Yeah.
probably if you go to the comments, you'll find the actual story.
It's from the community. So.
Whatever. That was weird. But my issue with Reddit, or the one thing that Reddit does that I wish that everyone would do is if you're on Reddit, like I went to this, there's this old Game of Thrones theorist Reddit page thingy, and if it had any sort of actual spoilers, it'd be blacked out. So it's like, oh, hey, these are articles that are like theories, and the blacked out ones are like the leaks, and it's like, cool, I'm not going to click on that. I'm going to click on the ones that have text. Now, if I go to Google News, and it's like, if spoiler blacked out, cool, I go click on it.
Sounds like you need to pick your news source.
I'm not using Reddit from a news source. That's the worst news source.
I don't think there's a solution here for you. You can all you want. I'm willing to listen.
And I will.
But I just don't think that there's a solution here for you other than you have to guard yourself better.
Yeah.
It's like Westworld or Ballers. Ballers is a
Yeah.
great example of a show. We haven't seen the last 2 seasons.
I've been avoiding everything Ballers.
Been avoiding everything. I follow The Rock on Twitter, and he's like, Ballers. I'm like, cool. All the way up. I don't care. I don't want to know.
Dude, I saw a freaking TV commercial for it, and I was like,
YouTube does the trailers, 5-second skip, I'm done. Like, I don't want to know, so I actively work to avoid.
Yeah, it's so hard.
It's not that hard.
it's worse with TV shows because you're watching TV, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, next on Blacklist. And it's like, what? No, I didn't want to. God. Like, I shouldn't know that one thing.
No, I think the worst thing that happens on TV, and it happens a lot on their streaming services now, is like if you have any interest in the CW and you're like, oh, I'm going to watch Arrow like 2 days after the episode aired, you'll be in the middle of watching it and they have those commercial breaks in between. It'll have a commercial for the next episode.
You're like,
after
no.
what you
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess she doesn't die this episode. This is pointless.
Yeah, that's what happened with Blacklist. I was like, I guess she's alive.
I just think that to me it is such a, and I don't disagree to an extent, but to me it is bothersome of why do so many people want this?
I think so many people are excited
Yeah.
and they want to talk about
Get it out of here.
People are patient, obviously. We all know this. People are not patient, so therefore they want things now and in any way they possibly can.
Why is this episode still going? End it now.
Yeah, but it's like, for example, to me it's like the same concept of early access. When early access first started coming around, everyone's like, I can play my games like early and help out developers. And then like flash forward 6 months and it's like, why are all these games broken and not finished? It's like, it says early access. That's what it is. Whereas like the same thing with leaks. It's like in the beginning people are like, oh yeah, I really, really want to know about this leak. And then like 6 months they're like, I want to be surprised. And it's like, there's no new games or exciting announcement at E3 anymore. It's like, yes, because 16 developers leaked the whole thing beforehand.
Yep.
Actually,
Duh.
Walmart Canada.
And Walmart Canada.
Bethesda was really, really hanging on. me.
I agree with your sentiment. I don't particularly want all these leaks, but I think that we as internet users just have to be more vigilant.
Just stop using the internet. That's the answer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, quite literally, the month before E3, I was like, I'm going to hit each site once a week or once a day, and that's it. Like, I don't want to get too
Not
far.
necessarily on the leak culture aspect. And that's like, the issue is, and I've said this like so many times with my girlfriend, of like, if, for example, like this podcast and then like our jobs and whatnot, like we are so heavily dependent on news and media and like we need to be relevant. We need to know what's going on in the world. Like if it wasn't for that, I would be the most antisocial person I think ever. Because like Facebook, like because that doesn't benefit me at all, like my job or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I get on Facebook at best once every 2 weeks. At best.
Understandable.
And it's the last time I got on Facebook was to get that photo for the end of the podcast. Last time I got on Facebook, what is it, like 2 weeks ago?
3.
4.
Oh, look at that, 4 weeks ago.
it has to be for you.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like Facebook I got off of mainly because I hate people and political
That's
rants and
understandable.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's getting
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But like Twitter, it's the same thing of like whenever something's about to happen or like if it's like a big event like the Westworld season finale or something, I know I'm not going to watch it live. It's like, cool, take a week off.
Yep.
That's what I got to do.
100%.
Because there's no way that I can trust my friends because they're terrible.
We're going to start a website It's going to be called Strange Conversations, and it is going to be leak free.
I thought you were going to be a
Spoil me
Leak
not.
Central. It's the worst.
I've
up,
got
plug
nothing
it
more to
up.
say because I feel like a broken record on this topic.
Yeah.
You are.
We need to have spoiler tags on everything.
We need to build a wall around spoilers.
If Google News, if you could just insert something that if it sees the keyword spoiler, don't even show it on my newsfeed.
Google, you've got the best AI
you
around.
do.
Trust me,
Tag it.
You can
Tag it
create
as a
AI
spoiler.
spoilers.
And that's fine. There'll be people that will go to your section for spoilers, and it's not me. I don't want to know. Because when the Samsung Note 9 gets announced, I want to be like, that's a cool feature. I didn't see that coming. Instead of being like, I heard about that 6 months ago. Nerd. Looks dumb.
When it comes to tech, it's almost like a different world than it is with entertainment. Like with entertainment, people are a lot more, I guess, angry because that's a part of the excitement is waiting for
hype.
that next episode.
Yep.
Someone spoils Game of Thrones, they're like, who's the douchebag? Hang him.
Well, to
And
me, it's much
with
more
tech,
like
it's like everyone. It's almost like a mission to try to just piss off.
like
the
to me,
tech
like when it
companies.
comes to like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, it's like, for example, and this is a spoiler for Game of Thrones for you, then I feel really bad for you. But if it's like midway through like season 2 or 3, and once you first get introduced in the Viper, it's like, oh yeah, head gets popped off. It's like, neat. Thank you for ruining my favorite person. I don't even know if I want to watch this anymore. But there's like nothing you can do. Like you can't fix the fact that now you know what happens.
Yeah.
Whereas like at least in tech, it's like something where like I understand like, oh, maybe you're excited for the new phone or whatever, and you want to know, hey, should I wait and buy it or whatever. But just like when it comes to like TV and content and movies and whatnot, it's like you're doing nothing but hurting people. You're doing nothing
That's
but like
not true, though, because there are some people who want to join that conversation.
yeah. And there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to know.
There
Like
are
the
people
Red
that
Wedding.
literally cannot stand not being up front of something. Like you guys talk about wanting the next tech, like always wanting the newest stuff.
at least
People are like that with the videos and wanting the knowledge.
But like I at least understand it from the tech standpoint of like maybe you don't want to purchase a phone now because the next one may be better or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I get that perspective, but like because I had already read the Game of Thrones books, so I already knew what the Red Wedding was. And every week when I was sitting on my couch with my friends watching Game of Thrones, everyone's like, "Yeah, there's no way it's gonna be better than this." Like, "Oh yeah, guys,
Oh, man.
it's not gonna get in." I swear to God, oh my, just keep watching, just keep
Some
watching.
YouTube gold is Red Wedding reactions.
Yeah, and we're losing that.
And 2 Girls 1 Cup reaction.
I don't agree entirely.
That one, nothing can brace you for.
I don't agree entirely because, again, I feel like if you want to avoid something, you just have to pick and choose. Like, you can't avoid everything now. That's just not possible.
You can't even have it. I feel.
So you got to pick and choose what you want to avoid and center your schedules around it.
I think we should go back to print newspapers,
Okay.
spoiler free. No
No,
phones.
that means you need to go back to print newspapers.
I do it.
I have a really good idea for content. We could have Brent watch weird porn and watch him have gag sessions.
This
I'm
sounds,
sorry, what?
this sounds awful. I won't
I'm
agree
now
to this.
curious as if the second part of that is related to the first part or
yes,
not.
Yes, we can discuss that later. I'm getting ready to hop off.
Okay.
So if you guys want to continue, I don't think Mark had a topic. So I have a topic for him.
All right.
Okay.
For all of you who are not watching the video, it's Mark's birthday. So I drew him a wonderful birthday cake.
Aw.
And he has to blow out the candles. He's 12. So happy birthday to
you.
you.
Happy birthday to you. Mark, just press the button.
Happy birthday,
Day,
dear
dear
Marky
Mark.
Mark.
Mark blowing it.
Happy birthday
Mark blowing
to you.
it.
Blow. Whoa! He blew the
look
whole
at
cake away.
Dang.
He blew the whole cake away.
Now, I really wish we could like temporarily borrow Zach King, the guy who does the crazy vines, and just make a cake, just smack
Splash
it
it
right
in Brent's face. That would be great.
If you want to film that tomorrow before we do the edit. No, I'm just kidding. It's not happening. Happy birthday, Mark.
Mark, what has been your favorite memory of the last year?
Ooh. If you don't say the start of this podcast.
There is a wrong answer.
I mean, you could say the start of the podcast, except I kind of joined the podcast a little bit late, but
That's why it's the start of the podcast.
Burn. Sorry, Billy.
No, actually, probably my best memory of this past year was actually moving into this house.
Look at that.
I'm away from the mic, but yeah, definitely moving into this house.
It's so cute.
I mean, it's. I have my own space in there. Like we've been able to make this entire place what we want to make it. Hence, making this entire space,
Yeah.
Sort of the recording / podcast room. It's actually been really nice, and it's been I don't know, life changing, and to some extent because you can actually make a space yours. It's a whole.
You got a whole wall painted of weird polygons.
If you watch the YouTube video and you zoom in, you can actually see a tear right there.
You can. You can also see a little bit of icing right there.
Correct. If you're an audio listener, you're missing out on quite a bit of a visual spectacle.
It is. That it is. But it's good. We're glad that you've been on this planet for 26 wonderful years.
I'm glad you're 12 years old finally.
Now you're legal in Japan.
And this has been Strange Conversations.
Great time.
We
to end
will
it.
be back next week
Great
with
time to
more
end it.
zany antics and nerdy news for you to discuss with us. As usual, happy birthday, Mark.
Thank you.
And aim for the bushes. And we out.
Deuces.